Whoa.
There we go.
Matey. Our matey.
Welcome.
Looking good.
Hey, well, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. I think that welcome everybody to Discourse Syndicate RG3. We got Litecoin Moses as usual and Good Texture on with us today. What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Not much. We got to give a shout out to our buddy Ministry of Hex. He put that new intro together for us and was so generous and kind to donate that to us. Cool stuff.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. He did that for us. Put it together.
Feeling like a salty sea dog right now.
I had the bigger version. I had everything all set up on OBS, and for some reason, the stream key's not right or something. I don't know, but somebody said it was on Dlive, and then somebody said it wasn't on Dlive. But I think because I got two, I've got two Dlive or Dlive accounts. People are going to the wrong one. So anyway, yeah, Ministry did that. He put it together for us. So anyway, maybe next time I'll get it. Maybe Wednesday. We'll see. I'll try. Keep trying. Freaking streaming shits for the birds.
One of these days, man. This is early days, man. You know, the ship's leaving the harbor right now. We're hitting a little bit of rough patch in the ocean, man. But we know where we're going, man. We got the treasure map.
Definitely do. So today I brought everybody on so that we can start talking a little bit about other coins that are staking, because I know there's been a lot of talk out there. Everybody gave Suppleman a bunch of shit, which he deserved. Even on Hexo's show, people were giving him shit for his Hex review. He did a half-ass Hex review, and then the very next day, some bitch does a staking coin review, the top 5 staking coins, and puts 5 pieces of shit out there. And
Icon was the only one that was known by probably most people. That's it. Like the rest of them were like complete obscure bullshit.
So first of all, I mean, there's a handful of staking coins that are even on the radar.
Right.
And first and foremost is ETH and Cardano. And both of those can fuck off because they're not even out yet. So, you know, ETH and Cardano, nothing but promises, nothing but, you know, attempts and nothing yet. So they don't even count, to be honest, even though they're the names. But these other coins like Phantom, did we look at Phantom a little bit? I mean, I looked at it and I didn't.
It's got a lot of like big words like this is the blockchain interoperability controlling the entire ecosystem, making transactions lightning fast, but it's like no explanation of what it does until
I forgot to mention the top doggy Tezos.
Oh, too. Tezos, yeah.
Tezos is you know, and so I was reading on Tezos' stuff, and they were like, you know, so from what I understand is if you have Tezos, you can either bake them on the node,
right,
or you can just hold them in your wallet.
Yeah.
And we did some math, right? Litecoin, we did some math. Like, I think it took like $16,000, $17,000, maybe a little more than that.
A little, yeah. It's basically, if this is based off of Coinbase numbers, if you're getting their bullshit ass numbers, right? Because you're getting ripped off 25%. You need 7,300 tokens to get one token a day in dividends,
which is like $2.75 right now, right?
Roughly, yeah. Which is like $16,000, $17,000, depending on the price, more
16
or
or 17 grand to get a couple bucks a day,
pretty much.
Which, you know, in the scheme of things, isn't half bad, but
yeah,
you know,
at least they're operational, unlike some of these other projects.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And then their whole thing is their website shows that we don't mine. We're no miners. We don't hurt the ecology, all this other crap about not mining. But now maybe you can explain this to me, guys. Okay. You have to have a node in order to operate, because they don't run on another network like Hex does on ETH, and they run nodes in order to keep consensus or whatever. And then that's also where the tokens bake. So I know that's, when I read it, it said that the node had to be plugged into power at all times. So really that's kind of like their mining, isn't it? I mean, isn't that really?
Yeah, it's kind of it's
just
kind
calling it something different.
It's calling it something different, but instead of you, so we're if I got this correct, like Bitcoin uses like SHA-256. And what they're doing is that they keep increasing the difficulty on, you know, mining over time and stuff. So as more and more people mine it, it makes it harder. So it makes it more expensive to get a Bitcoin, right? Where on this, the difficulty is pretty much almost at zero, essentially. And what they're doing is randomly gifting people some of the dividends essentially, or they get all equal amount, but they have to like this node gets this time, then the next block gets that one, this one gets that one, and it's just kind of randomly distributed. But then it's equaled out that everyone gets their chunk over time, if that makes sense.
It looks like Tezos and EOS use a very similar consensus algorithm, distributed proof of stake, or DPoS.
DPoS, yeah, that's what it was called. So that's the whole node theory, right? Instead of using miners, they're using this. I mean, and there's got to be a piece of hardware somewhere hooked up that keeps the ledger and keeps consensus or helps with consensus, right?
So in order to have your own node, you have to have 8,000 Tezos, which is called a roll. I love these baking terms. Jesus Christ, but you have 8,000 Tezos. You can then you're allowed to make a node of yourself, and then from there you can ask people, hey, you can come join my pool if you don't have $18,000 to spend on this. Then from there you can essentially steal 10% of their rewards as an operator, and then give them out, and then give them the rest of the rewards. And that's kind of what's going on. Is that like there's like a 10% little like jacking of the inflation.
Why do all these things have to be so fucking confusing? I mean, I thought Hex was confusing. Then I started looking at some of these things. I was like, well, how the hell is this work? And then they've got this governance system. They've got like a digital Commonwealth governance bullshit situation where that people can vote and you can vote on what actually gets done on chain. And I was like, well, how the hell is that supposed to work? And I mean, to change what? So really there's centralization, but a democratic centralization of some type. I don't know. I mean,
is because the way it all sounds like they kind of jacked kind of what Cardano was doing with Ouroboros, because what it basically is like, you just basically need a computer, like a basic ass computer or like a really nice rig, and then you can run the node or whatever, because you just have to download the blockchain, and then from there, basically the block is already says like, here's all the transactions, right? And then one person gets the block randomly, and then if it solves that little computer problem, I think, then from there but it costs nothing in computing power. So it's like any computer can basically do it as long as it's like a decent rig, and then from there, it gets that reward. So it just gives out a bunch of rewards randomly. Here, you get this one for this pool and that pool, and then over time, all the pools essentially get money, but the larger pools, I think, get paid out a little bit more. So the larger the pool, the more they get some of the rewards.
Wow, Funding Jim just explained it like this. I'll pull this up. Tezos node is just like an 18K buy-in, and then build a downline to get percentage
off the circles
underneath.
Definitely, yeah, and that's what they're all doing essentially. Like Tezos, and basically what's going to happen is that either some of the more famous people in the ecosystem are basically going to absorb all the Cardano or all the Tezos onto their node. And then depending on how big your node is, you have voting power. If that makes sense. So it's sort of going to be like
so their democratic governance system is really based on just like a lobbyist system. The more you can influence, the bigger your vote.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with DAOs and all this other bullshit. Like, I was kind of like bamboozled by all that bullshit early on too. Like, I was like, oh, cool, a DAO, like we'll be able to vote on it, right? But then they always set up the rules so they make sure that they have all the voting power as well. Like, if they're land heavy or they're Tezos heavy, they're gonna make sure that they have a bunch of Tezos and stuff as well. You know what I mean? Or a bunch of Cardano, and they get some voting power or whatever.
I don't trust anything that's got a guy from Morgan Stanley in it. Sorry. Okay.
I don't know. It seems to look like a good project. I guess my qualm with it is it just doesn't pay enough. I think the governance is probably a good idea. I think all of it is probably a good idea, but it's just not, the interest is just not enticing enough.
So when you talk about governance, though, that just means it's not finished. I mean, really.
Well, yes, a lot of people have the opinion, and maybe this is a religious opinion, maybe it's not, but they have the opinion that software is never finished, that there is no such thing as complete software. Yeah. Well,
what about that mentality?
Yeah.
Some people believe that software never finishes and that you always upgrade it, and then eventually you start upgrading it so much that you probably end up backtracking a little bit, but that's kind
Right.
of how the software world works. It's kind of like a work of art. If you're an artist, I think Michelangelo said this at one time. An artist has to know when to stop, or maybe it was Leonardo that said that. If you are an artist and you just keep going and going and keep adding to the picture, eventually you get past a point where you're actually causing damage to the picture. And I think software is exactly the same way.
Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, one of the reasons there's so much Tezos and 3 addresses is because it kind of because it was an ICO, and then people ended up just pooling it into like exchanges. Like, I bet you Coinbase is probably one of the biggest of those wallets.
$232 million ICO.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah,
and magically it was like allowed to get on Coinbase,
one of the biggest.
But nothing's allowed to get on Coinbase,
Yeah, and then also there was a lot of influencers that got involved. So a lot of the crypto YouTubers and they all got involved in it, and some of them got some big bags, from what I understand. Right. They actually got, like buying power in there or whatever. But
and a lot of them were allowed in without being accredited as well. They were just kind of given a little secret passcode. Hey, here, you can get in, just because they wanted the influencers on their side.
It looks like they're doing pretty good. They're up, a good 5x from when they started, or 10x.
Yeah, staking works, man. I mean, look at Hex, baby.
The thing about them though is they don't have any mechanism to dissuade people from unstaking and dumping, except for the loss of a 6% interest rate. And if they feel the coin is going to dump, 6%, which is very easy to do, it doesn't seem like there's any reason to keep staking. Like, what is the point of staking in Tezos other than to support the governance model and to support voting? Like, what is the real point if you can always just quit?
Yeah.
It's just fair weather.
The divs aren't big enough.
I don't think they thought that part out.
And the divs aren't big enough. I mean, you've got to be a big bag holder in order to get real decent divs out of it. I mean, that's just not enough to be part of all that. I don't know. It just doesn't. That's what it seemed like to me. Is like it didn't interest me.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool, but it may end up being one of those coins that kind of goes into the dustbin of projects that just kind of lingers around. I don't see. It's just not super enticing. There's no pumpamentals in it.
Yeah, and then so the other ones.
The big thing for that.
Go ahead.
Oh, I said the big thing for that coin is that they're supposedly doing a new type of ICO, which is called an STO, which is basically it's like an IPO but in a crypto form. So they're going to start like IPOing companies that are on the stock market or in private hands and putting them as like sort of like a new IPO, but it's a company instead of a crypto project. And that's that whole thing with that's why people are investing into Tezos essentially. Is like, here, hold on to this coin right now until we get the projects on there, and then hopefully we can STO projects on there. So that they're trying to figure out a new way to create a new ICO essentially with companies now. That's the big pitch with Tezos.
Sounds like Stellar. Doesn't Stellar do STOs too, or something like that? Stellar has their own ICO launch platform as well. I think it's an STO.
Yeah, that was supposed to be EOS's thing.
EOS.
I'm not super informed on what Tezos is, how it works, and all these kind of things. I'm kind of looking at it in another window here, but I'm not super informed on it. I'm just informed enough to know that it's not super enticing. If number doesn't go up,
right.
I'm not sure why. What's the point of buying it if number doesn't go up?
And then selling it doesn't help you. I'm going to be right back, guys. Hold on one second. Okay. I mean, go ahead.
What's up, Litecoin?
Hey, what's up, man?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think I'm lagging out a little bit.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of lag.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Well, anyway, yeah, like the big thing with like Tezos, right? Well, what was supposed to, so what they're pushing Tezos in terms of companies coming out with projects on Tezos, right? But EOS was supposed to drop, like it was supposed to be the new ICO platform, and they haven't dropped anything at all. Like EOS has been like trash basically this entire fucking market.
Has EOS like not been launching, ICOs and stuff like that like they were supposed to? Or not a
EOS?
lot of them? Yeah.
I don't think they've dropped much, or if anything at all. I haven't heard of anything. It's like the whole point of having that coin is like you own it, you have it on your wallet. It doesn't matter if it's on Coinbase or on Binance or your cold storage. You get airdropped coins for owning EOS, and that was the big thing for that coin. And big fat zero on that one. Nothing.
I guess Brock Pierce.
On that.
Brock Pierce dropped the ball on that one.
He's already out of that coin, isn't he? He's already out of EOS, isn't he?
Wait, really? I thought he was still the evangelist.
I don't know. I thought he was big guy, and then he got out and left. I didn't know if he was still involved with the project at all.
Oh, I think he's still in.
Wax might be the only thing running on EOS, I think, which is like
a
gaming platform.
Oh, yeah, it's not a gambling.
Yeah, you can buy like NFTs and stuff and trade like items, which is it is a cool idea for that, right? Trade.
Yeah, see,
if I have a sword on one game, it'd be cool if you can use it in a different game.
Yeah,
because I worked hard for it.
Jim said he's out, so yeah,
he's really out. I gotta see this. I want to see the source for this. That Brock Pierce exit scammed. Oh, he got voted out. What does that even mean?
Who knows?
Brock Pierce.
These things are strange, man. Some of the stuff that goes on. I think he got out before he even went to Puerto Rico.
I think Brock Pierce and Gary Funding Jim are probably neighbors.
Yeah, they do. They live out there pretty close to each other. But he left that project a while ago. I think that was a while ago. But those guys made so much money, so much damn money. Yeah, Dan Larimer voted him out, he said.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Awesome.
But I look at they're another one of those EOS is another one of those companies where they've got big fancy offices with glass windows and
really?
Just high dollar everything going on over there. And it's like, there's a whole lot of,
he's retweeting EOS stuff. Brock Pierce is retweeting EOS.
Well, maybe he's got big bags.
Oh.
Come on, right? So it says EOS. Who's this right here? EOS is going to make us millionaires. 2-year-old video.
Brock Pierce, he also has Bancore. He's retweeting some Bancore. I think Bancore might be a sleeper coin. I think that thing may have some pumpability to it. I don't really know much about it, but
yeah. Well, what I was talking about EOS is I look at their platform, and they've got all this promising stuff that they're going to do for corporations and companies and all these things that they've got. But what's really functioning on it? Who's operating on it? What companies are doing well? I can't find any of that. I haven't found any of that yet. Not that I've looked real hard, but as I start to go down the rabbit hole, I'm like looking at all this fluff and all this stuff that looks really cool and nice and everything, but nothing. There's nothing there at the end of it. And I only see like a couple of coins that are actually doing things, a couple of projects that are actually doing it. ETH is like one of them, and it's just, other coins are building on top of it and projects are building on it and using it. And that's all I see. And then everything else just looks like fluff,
I remember studying EOS pretty closely in the past. And I remember coming across what I felt at the time was pretty strong evidence that their TPS estimates were really, really overblown. So I think that was one of the big selling points of EOS at first, is it was supposed to be able to handle like 50,000 transactions per second or something like that. But then I remember later somebody like debunking that and showing that the TX rate was actually just really, really slow.
Yeah. I mean, everyone wants to make sure their TPS is higher than like, or comparable to like Visa, MasterCard or something. And that's
they were claiming like 50,000.
Yeah, it's probably nowhere near that, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I think Richard said it too. Like ZK World has pretty much solved a lot of that issues. They're just trying to roll it out now.
But the problem is nobody's needed to use crypto to that capacity.
Yeah, nobody uses crypto.
Nobody's used it to that capacity. I mean,
the exception is going to be if people start using these stable coins. If people start actually using USDC or USDT in real commerce, that TX rate is going to become really, really necessary.
Now, but my thought on that is if they do start using, if you do start seeing the masses like rolling into these stable coins and using them as the, if that turns into the crypto, which it quite possibly could, what happens at that point? I mean, they can turn that off at any time. They can, those are so heavily regulated that all they got to do, one little blip, one little day, and it all comes crashing down.
They can crack the whip always, man.
Well, the same is true about the regular banking system. Your debit card, they can shut that thing down any day of the week that they want to. And it does happen. People get their accounts frozen all the time. So it seems like a logical, especially with this weird PayPal news coming out today. Imagine if PayPal lets people start buying, they're going to let people buy USDC. That's going to be nuts.
What was that? I missed it. I missed what was going on.
PayPal is going to start like selling crypto like an exchange or something. They're probably going to end up being some kind of pass through to Coinbase.
What's the name with what was it?
It was vague. They didn't give a lot of details, but if I had to guess, because PayPal and Coinbase have been they've been in bed together for quite some time, and it's probably going to end up just being a pass through to Coinbase. It'll just be a front end that uses Coinbase on the back end. If I had to guess, I don't know that.
They're white labeling the business pretty much, right? Just getting a little fee for it for their users, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
And they're gonna love that too. They're gonna love it, people using USDC, because it's gonna be so traceable. I mean, goodness gracious.
It's what they've always wanted. Like I've been saying, USDC is Fed coin.
It's
It's more than Tether. It's the Fed coin. I mean, literally, if you look how Coinbase, look at the font, white and blue. Then you look at USDC, white and blue. JP Morgan, white and blue. And guess who just partnered? Who just gave them their first official JP Morgan with Coinbase, right? It's only making me wonder if they're like back end funding Coinbase on the low and stuff to make USDC.
Yeah. Deutsche Bank is white and blue too, I think.
I've heard. Well, this is all hearsay, but like, I've been coming up with this little theory, like a little bit. What the hearsay is, like, I heard what's that one bank that's always money laundering? HBC or is HBC?
All of them? No, they're all money. They're all doing it.
for the cartels and stuff. Like there's
I think you're right.
Hong Kong bank.
I think you're right. It was HSBC. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they were trying to buy Binance.
Really? No way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because all these banks want you got to think of it like it's a big Game of Thrones, right? Like, okay, this crypto thing's for real. Let's start buying our pieces, right? And if basically JP Morgan already sat down, they already essentially bought, Coinbase now, right? Now all these players are trying to get their exchange. I wouldn't be surprised if some like Lloyd's or some shit out in the UK bought fucking bit shit, or BitMEX.
Check this out. I saw this today.
Is this new? No.
I don't know. I thought it was new.
6 months old.
Is it?
Yeah. That doesn't mean anything, though. I can't hear it. I don't know if anybody else can hear it. I'm gonna look in the chat here. Yeah, I'm not hearing it. Nobody's hearing it. Funding Jim says JP Morgan is government. That is why they control the physical silver market. Plunge protection team is JP Morgan. I 100% agree with that. They're the largest by market cap. They're the largest bank in the world by quite a large margin. I think they're even larger than any of the banks in China. JP Morgan runs this thing for sure.
One of their
Funding Jim's
running Tezos. One of their guys is the one that started Tezos.
I think it was Morgan Stanley, right? Morgan Stanley.
Yeah. Morgan Stanley. I'm sorry, JP Morgan.
Pretty close. Funny Gem says USDC is Fed coin. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. But like
It
I was saying,
does.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't be. It would just like the biggest exchange outside, like what is BitMEX, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised some UK company, just some UK bank, since they want to be in this whole section because London is a financial center, that some London bank doesn't buy BitMEX or forces their hand essentially to get BitMEX as their exchange. Because like I think every bank around the world is going to want a major exchange, their exchange arm, sort of like how like you'd be a Bank of America, but you have Bear Stearns or something like that, sort of that kind of deal where you have your mortgage arm. Does that make any
There was
sense?
I was about to derail. I'm sitting here reading comments.
Oh.
There was a lot of like rumors and stuff that JP Morgan, JP Morgan has done a lot of Ethereum development. So, I wouldn't be surprised. So what JP Morgan did was they created this software called Quorum. And Quorum was essentially a fork of Ethereum that integrated the ZK Snark technology from Zcash in order to bring privacy to the Ethereum blockchain. Now, this was years ago. So I'm thinking that JP Morgan's purpose with doing that, JP Morgan has their JPM coin. And I don't know where, I check on that every now. I haven't seen anything about JPM coin in quite some time.
I saw that Quorum deal though.
Well, so JP Morgan, they had a former executive. Her name was Blythe Masters. She was really a hot shot. Coincidentally, she was born on March 22nd, which astrologically is, or at least from an astronomy perspective, is a really big deal. That's like the Skull and Bones Day. And so that was like a former really high up person in JP Morgan. And she is now the CEO. She went over to another group called Digital Asset, and then she went to Hyperledger. And she's currently like a board member of Hyperledger, which as time goes on, some people like Jim Rickards has said he's kind of a CIA spook type guy. He has said that Hyperledger is going to be a really, really big deal in the future. And there's a lot of software coming out lately that allows Ethereum to plug in to the Hyperledger. So I'm just wondering if like JPM coin, Hyperledger, USDC coin, if they're all going to play ball somehow. I don't know. Some really important people over at Hyperledger, like really important JPM people.
Well, I figured there definitely was a lot of stable coins put together over the last, 2 years, but I don't know how much involvement any of those
astrologically
big. I don't know how many of those have their involvement in those coins, but
yeah. So the Skull and Bones cult at Yale, they have like a holiday. It's March 22nd, and she was born on March 22nd. So I always thought that was interesting. Litecoin's making fun of me. I think he's lagged out. I think he's lagged out. No, he's super lagged out.
How am I lagging out? Jesus.
Yeah, he's about 2 minutes behind.
Are you a couple minutes behind us? He can't hear us.
No, he's way back. I'm looking through the comments. KNTX says his wife was born on March 26th. I'm gonna think about that. If you DM me a year, I can give you more info. She's not an Aries though. If somebody told you she was an Aries, they lied.
Didn't they change that? Didn't everybody's astrological signs get changed?
I mean, here's the thing. So what's so crazy about astrology is the model that people in the West use. It's called the tropical model. The tropical model assumes that the precession of the Earth's axis never moves relative to the stars and everything. They assume that the Earth just doesn't wobble at all. That's what Western tropical astrology assumes, which is total nonsense.
Because it does. It wobbles as it.
Yeah. The Earth wobbles. So if it's wobbling, the constellation that you were born under is it's going to be different. And so the Indians, the Vedic people, the Hindus and all these people have known this for like thousands of years, and they have been accounting for the wobble of Earth's axis for a really long time. So that's why their entire nation of people actually believes in it, because if you've ever looked at like these horoscopes and stuff for tropical astrology, it doesn't make any sense. Like you'll look at it and you're like, this could apply to anyone. This doesn't apply to me. But
Yeah,
it's very
vague shit.
yeah, it's very vague and it's garbage. But you know, and this is way off topic for this show. But
No,
the Vedic stuff, you know, I'll tell you what, I've looked pretty deep into it, and I've analyzed it, a lot of people with it, and that and the Chinese astrology, I think there's something to them. Not the tropical Western, but the Vedic and the Chinese. Those things are pretty cool.
yeah. I've listened to some of them talk, and they've got some interesting stuff to say. But it looks like we lost Litecoin. That's cool. What else we got? What do we got going on in the chat room here?
Says Khalil Yazuri says, when do you think Hex will pump? I've been saying for a while, I think Hex is going to pump in July.
Man, that thing is like bound up like nobody's business right now. That chart looks like it's just so tight.
Yeah, it is. It's just chilling. Yo, Hexo put up some really good stuff today. He showed the RSI was breaking out, and he showed the MACD was looking like it was trying to turn over and cross over. And there's like all sorts of triangles showing up. I mean, it's really, I think it's going to chill for a little bit though. Like, I don't think it's going to, I guess it could break out in June, but I'm not seeing it. I think it's going to chill. My date is really, the hard date that I'm looking at is around July 8th. I'm thinking around July 8th is something around there. You know, it's not an exact date, but I'm starting to think around, you know, maybe that week, the week of July 8th is when things are going to start getting spicy. I think it's going to do a lot of sideways nothingness, maybe, or drop. It's either going to go sideways or drop until probably the first or second week of July. It's just my opinion though.
Yeah, no, I know. I like listening. All the traders and all the chart readers, they always say the same. Well, it's gonna either at some point it's either gonna go up or it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
At some point in the future here, it's gonna go up or it's gonna go down. I'm not sure yet, but that's what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
And Joey Paletti is asking about comparing the EOS chart to Hex's. Yeah, I looked at it before, and I don't think they're comparable. I mean, some people have said that they are. In my opinion, it's an apples to oranges comparison. Like the percentage increases, like the fractals don't even match up. Like I think EOS did not do anything close to what Hex is doing.
No, it looked at the beginning. It looked like the start was about the same. Like the first couple of months, things looked, you know, the FOMO day, and then everything's starting to ramp up. But as soon as Hex started running, man, it was like, whoa.
I think only the beginning and the end are probably going to be the same, because that's just logical. You know, people are like, oh my God, the A is almost done. And then people rush in, obviously, you know, to get in. And
Day 47 OG says, what is the age of the Sphinx? I will refer you to Graham Hancock. He is the expert. Go ask Graham Hancock, and he'll probably tell you it's 15,000 years old.
Don't start bringing that shit in here. I'm going to kick you.
That was around the time of Atlantis, before the ocean rise.
Shit. No.
All right, guys. He censored me. I can't talk about that anymore. Hexio, I'm sipping on some lemon juice with no sweetener.
It's a good texture. So what does it mean as an investor that I'm an Aries? What does that mean?
You're not an Aries, first of all.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, you could be an Aries, but you're probably not. What's your birthday? If you don't have to tell me if you want to. But
it's the beginning of April.
The beginning of April. Yeah, you're probably a Pisces, if I had to guess.
Pisces.
You're more dreamy. You've got, and that's only your sun sign. Your sun sign isn't even necessarily your most prominent sign, but you're dreamy. Like, you can tell when you're talking to you, you're a dreamy person. You're always thinking about all of these other kinds of coins, and thinking, just like when I've talked to you about like Celsius Network, you know, you're a very dreamy person. You got a lot of ideas. Aries are not like that. Aries are very, they're childish almost. they're not dreamy like that. And that's the thing. Like a lot of people that claim that they're Aries, take a look at them and see if they're actually running 90 miles a minute. Like if you take someone that is a tropical Taurus, you'll notice that they're very childish type people generally, because the tropical stuff is not taken into it. Yeah, I'm making yeah, he's dreamy, but they're not taking into account the tilting of the Earth. So I'm gonna get y'all. If y'all keep asking me about astrology, I'm gonna get kicked off of this thing.
It's just interesting.
We're starting to lose people. People want to hear about Hex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever they see good texture on, they're like, "Oh man, he's going to give us some numbers. He's going to give us some. He's going to start talking about some things."
Right.
I was hoping we all did a little more research on staking coins so that we can kind of do some comparisons. But I mean,
let's do some comparisons, man. I got some info.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. I don't know a lot about
coins.
the other. Like I haven't gone super deep into a lot of these coins.
I mean, I could tell you right now what the percentage, the yearly dividend is going to be on like something like Tezos and something like ADA,
Exactly.
ADA is only right in the testnet. For staking your coins, you're basically going to get about 10 to 12%, depending on the pool. 10 to 12% of yearly dividend, right? But then. Yeah. But that was only with 40% of coins staked. So they're saying out of the if it actually was live, it was going to be somewhere close to 80 to 90% of the coins are going to be staked. So it would be like 5 to 6%.
Here's a list here. So synthetics is like a top. Tezos is like number one. This is the Google. This is Google search, which Funding Jim said to check out. So synthetics. I'm gonna look at some of these. What's that one? Algorand.
Yeah. I just know that their interest rates are terrible.
Loom Network. Heard of them. And then Decred, of course. Heard of Decred.
They're hoping for boomer money, man.
They've been around for a long time.
Get more than the bond.
Cosmos.
Yeah.
And then Icon we had. And that's a lot of staking coins right there. Now I got laid out on a couple of them. GreenX, and I won't say the name of the other one because I'm closely affiliated to the owner, but it's defunct and well, he's out of jail now. But anyway, but that coin was another staking coin that didn't do well. But another one that I remember that I was involved with was GreenX, and that one's nothing. But that's a lot of staking coins, and that's probably only scratching the surface.
I think all of them are going to basically start paying yields because the way the exchanges are going is that they're copying places like BlockFi and Celsius, and they're just lending coins out. So each coin essentially is going to start having a yield depending on demand.
So this is what it's going to take then. When you look at when you got a list like this and you got staking coins that are offering up yields. I mean, bottom line is the normal human being staker is going to go, okay, when I lock my coins, what am I getting in return? It's going to be about the returns. I mean, and it's got to be simple. It's got to be very, very simple. And all of this node catching shit and all this other stuff that they got going on, these lending platforms and all of this stuff, it might sound all fine and dandy, but I don't know if that's what's going to catch the market share of people wanting to go stake, kind of. And it's also going to be who gets adoption first of the staking coins that are really going to get going to pick up the momentum, and that's going to be about marketing and who can get their name out there and get to the masses.
Half these coins I've never seen anybody, not even the TA guys, ever even talk about these coins. Like, have you ever heard anyone say like, "Oh my God, man, I made such a killing in Cosmos yesterday"?
No, none of them.
Never, and none of them.
If you look at the Cosmos chart on CoinMarketCap, that's not including the price that the seed investors paid. So the seed investors paid like, I don't know, it was like 10 cents a coin. It's like $4 now. The early seed angel investors got that stuff for 10 cents. That's like Zcash. Zcash, the low price in Zcash was like $18 or $19. The seed angel investors got Zcash for like $15 a coin. People don't talk about that kind of stuff. Like,
Right.
it wasn't like a pre-mine, but it was like there's people that are getting this stuff for way cheaper than anybody else that's ever seen on the market behind the scenes.
Well, and behind the scenes, I mean, I was part of, investors that had, you bought a certain amount of a coin in during their launch phase, then you got a 96% bonus if you put in a certain amount of dollars, and they would pull their dollars together and put it in there. And so a lot of these coins, did that, and when they launched,
Tesla's like launched for the early people for like 40 cents.
So here's a question to kind of send the conversation off in another direction. This is thoughts on fees close to big payday. I predict fees will be super expensive. So fees are already getting high. And what I don't understand, and I know that Richard has talked about it before, and maybe you guys can help me to understand this and teach me something. But when fees, so fees aren't the same on every project.
No.
I'll go to one project and I'll have to pay 81 cents and then boost it with another, buck or something, and then I'll go to something like Hex and it'll cost me 12 cents and then 23 cents to boost it.
Right.
And I don't know if that's because of the network and what's going on at the time, or if that's the actual project itself.
It's based off the contract of what type of contract they're using on the RC20 platform or whatever. So it's each one of them have a different contract, and depending on how complex the contract is, it requires more gas, and that affects the fee basically. Because like that's kind of the question I asked Richard himself when I did an interview with him, was like, why the hell, like, compared, like, because I was saying, why is Decentraland's fucking fees are like $10 now, and why are we only paying like 20 cents over here in Hexland? Like, I don't understand what's going on with the contracts. And it's just kind of, he pretty much made it, he streamlined the contract and made it as, low fee as possible, essentially, because, to make up for that. So the fees would never get too out of control. But if the Ethereum network keeps getting more and more clogged, and more projects are turning online, and Tether is being used more, then the gas fees go up for everybody regardless.
And what if, Hex is like blowing the freaking hell up in November right before big payday?
I mean, is there any possibility that Hex gets on loop ring or something like that, some kind of ZK snark based encapsulation system, so the fees can come down? I mean, that maybe that something like that could happen.
I think Richard said that's possible if need be, but I mean, this is just something little like I've heard that like 50% of so Tether is pretty much like 80% of the transactions on Ethereum, and Tether is diversifying its amount of transactions doing on Ethereum now, because it's kind of clogging the network, and now it's opened up chains on Amise Go and on Tron. So I'm guessing probably the fees will probably go down, and they'll be taking some of their transactions away from that. Sort of like originally it was on Bitcoin, it went on Ethereum, and then now it's starting to kind of spread its tentacles everywhere, essentially trying to get its transactions down. Yeah, older stakes were about 23 to end stakes. So what he said was, I can tell you guys from experience, I had a bunch of stakes that ended recently that I restaked out, and the older the stake, the more expensive the gas fees were.
Yeah, this is part of why I'm saying keep at least an Ethereum, one Ethereum on your staking address, especially for any 555 stakes, because that thing, when it wants to calculate your payout, it's got to iterate over 5,000 days, and that's computationally expensive. And that's the reason why we can only stake out 5,000 plus days, is because it is so computationally expensive.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's the part about crypto that kind of sucks.
They were trying to go 50 years. The original design was to have 50-year stakes, and Ethereum just couldn't handle it. So
50 years.
Yeah. The original intent was to go with 50 years as the maximum. Yep.
Who knows if something were to go bad with Ethereum, and then or whoever the secret team behind in the background were to move it off to a different platform. I mean, heck, we could get 50 years stakes now. Who knows?
It's true.
It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that'll happen with Ethereum too, or something.
Yeah, who knows what the future is going to end up looking like?
But I do. Oh, go ahead.
I have a feeling big payday bonuses will go way down from what they currently are, especially as the last few days on the AA arrive and more people stake means less coins for people to dump than they expected. Yeah, you know, when we had Dev Kyle on, we were talking about that, and you know, when you first put your stakes out there, you see them looking like you're going to get triple bonus and all that, and then slowly it starts to dwindle as more stakes get put out there. But the models that he ran are showing, I think it was at 70 or 80% staking, that you were looking at probably double.
A 2x,
You're 2xing your principal. So yeah, it's going to go down, but then you also are going to be balancing that out with people who are Bitcoin claiming, because there's going to be a frenzy of that coming too, more than likely. I mean, we're starting to see. I've seen another one today was like 230 Bitcoin went in today.
Damn! I think the other day we had like 1,200 Bitcoin in individual claims as well. So we're still getting a lot of Bitcoin claims per day.
Yeah, they're getting bigger. I'm seeing bigger Bitcoin claims coming in over the last few weeks or whatever month. But the more of those that come in too, that's going to kind of offset it a little bit. But yeah, big paydays. I mean, nobody can predict exactly what it's going to be. But like I said, Dev Kyle said that we're probably looking at 2x
on a 1-year stake only on those, right? Yeah.
No, well, it doesn't really matter what your staking, your bonus is your bonus. I mean, you look at your bonuses, and they're all moving down. You know what I mean?
Got it. Yep.
Let's see what else we got in here.
Hey Gary, are you in Puerto Rico or are you still in the States? Just seeing if he'll respond in chat.
But you're getting all emergency end stakers during the window of 80% of people not stake. Yeah, so your bonuses right now are actually enhanced because there's not a lot of people staked. So if you are staked now and you're staked for a long time, you're getting a bigger share of the bonuses. And that's what Good Texture was talking about. Those fees are having to calculate all of that information is where those fees over a long period of time are coming from. Right? Correct?
Yeah, right,
because that's what has to be computed, as you said, is your stakes have to be computed out as far as their bonuses and everything. And
it's got to go stepwise through every single day. It's just an iteration.
Yeah.
As long as you're staked and someone emergency unstakes, you're still going to get that bonus. So you'll still have those as well.
I'll tell you what's been really nice lately is I've been looking at Steph's website, hex.live, and I can plug in my staking address there. And every day when I check it, I'll probably check it maybe once a day after 7 p.m. or whenever. And it's kind of cool to see your interest bumping up every single day. It's pretty cool.
Right. I really like to share to see what kind of animal you are.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to change that. I think that like people today that are squids and dolphins and stuff like that, I think they're going to end up moving up in the ladder at some point. Because right now a dolphin has 0.01% of total shares. Like that's a lot. I'm going to do the math and see how many Bitcoin that is.
There we go. The math people want to hear.
0.0.
So that's 2,000. That's equivalent to having 2,000 Bitcoins. I mean, to me, I would think that 2,000 Bitcoins times $9,400, that's $19 million. So right now, a dolphin is equivalent to a Bitcoin holder that has $20 million worth of Bitcoin. I think that's a whale. That's just my opinion.
It is. I mean, that's and what's funny is that their algorithm is actually sending that backwards. So the more and more shares that are out there, the lower and lower you drop based upon what you have in their stake now.
Right. Yeah, I think shares are actually before big payday until big payday, I think shares are in total. Well, never mind. I know number of coins is going up pretty fast. It's going up really fast. It's going up like 500 million coins a day.
Well, that's exactly what's going on. Me. No, but they like I said, the shares. So as new coins are being made and as they're being staked, your share, the amount of shares that you hold according to the pool is getting less and less and less.
Well, the amount of shares that you hold is staying the same. It's just the number of
the
total shares.
Yeah, the total is growing.
The pool.
So your slice of the pie is looking smaller and smaller and smaller.
So shares are always more important because the coin number can move, but the share price is the share price, pretty much.
Yeah, well, what I was saying was the way that they calculate the dolphin, whale, squid, crab, shrimp, all that stuff is by how many shares you have of the total shares, and the total shares are growing every day that somebody stakes. So unless you're putting more in every day, you're falling down the ladder. But Good Texture said you're actually kind of growing too, because the shares are getting more and more valuable as people are staking, because your longer stakes are getting big. All of your stakes are getting fatter and fatter too.
What do y'all think we're actually like? Right now, I think big payday is said to multiply your coins by like, if you stake, for instance, 100,000 coins, big payday will pay you back 200,000 coins, roughly. But it seems like it's going down every day. I just wonder what that number is going to be at. When big payday comes, you stake 100,000 coins and you get 50,000 back. I don't know.
Yeah. So what's that? So what's that? What do they call it when the Bitcoin claimers claim that the function inside the contract?
The virality bonus.
The virality bonus. Now the virality bonus kind of offsets that a little bit too. So as Bitcoin claimers come in, that bumps it up, or those are just more like added like penalties. Did I stump everybody?
I'm not entirely sure because I don't study that part of the code that much, just because it's going to go away. I'm just kind of, it'll do what it does. I don't study it a whole lot.
Yeah. But that was part of Kyle's conversation was, that part of it kind of offsets the staking. As stakers come in, your big payday goes down, but the virality bonus has something to do with that. So I don't know if that adds to your big payday, or I think it adds to the interest is my guess.
Yeah, I think so. Or it had something. It had some bonus or something. That way, the Bitcoiners couldn't get more coins than people who were buying also in terms of from the AA buys. I think, more correctly.
Hey, Hextoshi says he goes to Mississippi. We'll have to hang out sometime, man.
In the sippy. Okay, so what else do we got going in here? Let's see what this says. Funny Jim's asking a question. If pool is bigger, daily of 500 million new minted hex, then the staker percentage may be going down in size, but the inflation is paid out to them.
So they end up getting more. They end up getting more money, and I think probably of all of that, and this is just my personal conspiracy theory, but of all of that 500 million hex that's minted every day, I don't think very much of that is going to see the market.
Right.
No, it's going to end up staked,
or it's just going to end up in an address just sitting there for a long time, kind of like what the central bank in London does with their gold. They just kind of sit on it, it never moves.
So do you think, Good Texture, do you think that after big payday that we're expecting to see some kind of a rise, whether it's somewhere between a penny and 33 cents is what we're thinking. Everybody's got their opinions or whatever, but so we see this rise, big payday comes and goes. The people who got in during the launch phase are sitting there with, the lion's share of shares and Hex. We see a couple of months of people dumping, capitalizing on some of their gains, and I'm thinking we're going to see it, up and down and kangaroo around a little bit, and then do you think it's going to level off, stable off, and because of the system itself and how Hex is built and the staking platform is built, that we're going to see kind of a stabilization of some type of a price?
Yeah, I think we are going to see, in fact, I think we're going to see some hyper stabilization for a time. I think that overall, Hex is going to trend upwards for many, many years. But I think over the course of those many years, there may be periods where Hex just does not move that much. We're kind of in a very small version of that right now, where it's sitting at 0033. It's just sitting at 0033, and I think it's gonna sit there for another week or two or drop. I also think that, Richard has said this before, and I think he said this kind of to make sure that everybody knows, crypto dumps, and if we see I'm thinking of too many things at once. I don't think it will be uncharacteristic for Hex to dump. It could dump 80%. It could dump 90%. It could dump. It's just one of those things. The rise that's coming, though, I think is going to be so massive that no matter what happens, no matter what it does, I think once it goes above a penny, it's never coming back. So once it goes above that penny, no matter what kind of dump it does in the future, I don't think it'll ever see a penny again.
Right. And I also think we'll probably hit a period too, after that dump, where people are going to possibly overstake without realizing it, sort of. So there might be a lull period, maybe 2 years from now, after the big payday, where if we do get that dump, I do think it's sort of like a pendulum where if we have not that much staked, what's going to happen is that people are going to probably overstake kind of because nothing's going on with the price around that time. And then with all that locked up supply, the price starts going back up, and then you'll start getting an increase of emergency end stakes again.
Yeah, that's a really good perspective. People are going to overbuy, and then people are going to oversell. And right. You're exactly right. I think with making the analogy with the staking, people are going to understake, and then people may overstake. I think that over the long term, though, we're probably going to end up seeing Hex as a market that just slowly trends up all the time. Once all this big payday chaos is finished, and we see some type of correction, and then it starts to kind of level off and people kind of chill out, I really, really do believe it's going to be a thing where we go 1, 2, I don't know how many years, and it just constantly is kind of just gliding up. It's not anything massive. It's not anything, not any big dumps either. It's just kind of a slow and steady rise for the simple reason there's not going to be any supply. After big payday, once that double halving, essentially a double halving event happens, we're going to 3.69% interest, and that's it. And it's not even going to be that high, because a lot of that's going to be staked.
And the dump from those that aren't staked is going to be bought up by people who are going to stake it. Right. So now that supply is going to get sucked in. Like you said, we'll see a dump. People buy it cheap, and they will stake it. And then again, now supply is dwindling down to next to nothing. So you're never after big paydays, after all of this is done over the first 6 months to a year after big payday, you're going to start seeing, like you said, that supply dwindling down to nothing, because people are staking, because the value of the Hex coin is not in holding it and watching price go up, especially when it's not as volatile anymore. It's going to be well, why would I buy this, hold it, and hope for a big spike when it's not going to do so? It's not going to do like other cryptos. It's probably going to be, like you said, more of a stable, steady rise. So it's well, why would I hold on to this? Why would I not just stake it and let it rise for another year or so, and then you realize the value of it? Because and then that's going to take even more supply off. So I think, like you said, year 2, year 3, it's going to really start to, just maybe even start to launch up even faster because of the supply being so dwindled down that you're going to have so many 10-year stakes that are going to be out like 12, 13 years, from now, right before the 15-year mark. You're just going to have like 5 and 10-year stakes after year 2 or 3, just boom, like just piling up out there, and the supply just being gone, man.
And I think we're going to, so you know how we said that, once it dumps or whatever, and then it overstakes. At that point, I think Hex is going to get stuck in a permanent 3-year cycle, because what's going to happen is, if we think that the average stake length is going to be about 5 years, right? That's going to be long term, just because most people are only going to stake for that long. The people that overcommit and stake for 10, 15, 20 years, I mean 5 to 15 years, that supply gets locked up. So each time we have that overstaking, like 10-20% of the supply is locked away for years away. So you end up having, like, over time so you have emergency unstaking, you end up getting a ton more supply on the land, then people overstake, and then you keep getting the supply getting put out years away, that eventually the supply over 6 years just keeps dwindling down. And we're doing like a 3, and then the reason I say it's a 3-year cycle, because the average person, let's just say they're staking 5 years, they're probably emergency staking around 2 years, and then that brings up the supply, and then let's just say it corrects at the end of the 3rd year, and then it overstakes, and then it just kind of keeps us going that way, because people keep taking a good portion of their money and putting it out to 10 years, and then that's out of their grasp for 10 years, and then that keeps locking up, pushing us in that vertical line over time. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really cool to see.
Because I was always thinking about that the other day when you kept saying the number 3. It kind of makes sense, like 3 years as being like, because like 2, like maybe if a person's met, like did a 5-year stake, right, 2.5 years before they can emergency unstake, but it would take months and months into that before people could earn unstake to bring in supply, right? And so 3 might be the magical number.
And there will probably be some type of, how there's a whole ton of hype right now around Bitcoin halving events. There's a ton of hype around Bitcoin halving events, and people talk about them for months in advance and things like that. I think that Hex is probably going to become so big and so popular that people will be looking at Hex the way that they look at Bitcoin halving events, and they will be looking at these massive billion coin stakes like the one that comes out in March of 2021. There will be websites dedicated to this one guy who has a 1 billion coin stake and things like that. So I think that kind of ecosystem is definitely going to develop.
Right.
So I saw something else in the chat here where somebody was talking about it's not going to be worth the fees to have these small ladders, like these monthly ladders and stuff. But wouldn't that make the fees less if you're only
right?
No, because each rung of the ladder is still going to have that go through the same iterations. So it's actually going to cause a lot. They're right. It's going to cause a lot more fees if you have these ladders that are spread out, because each individual ladder is going to have to go through the entire iteration itself. So it definitely grows.
Mm-hmm.
It's not horrible growth. It's a linear growth. It's only linear. It's not like you're going to have an exponential growth in fees. It's relatively linear, but it is going to be a growth. I don't think it's going to be catastrophic though.
No.
In 6 years, ETH2 or 8 years, ETH 2.0 might be finally out, and this might be fixed.
Yeah.
So our 10-year stakes are safe. Maybe.
And there may be there may be solutions to these issues as the years go by. We might be sitting in the middle of something that we won't be seeing in the future, which is hopefully that's the case. But
the moon gland is near rectum.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think 2023 is good texture tickling. I'm not allowed to talk about the moon anymore on this episode, Hex Yoda. Sorry. I'm not allowed to.
I didn't say you couldn't talk about it.
Okay. Back on moon mode. So here we go.
When it comes time, I'll bring you back around. How's that sound? I'll let it go for a little bit, and then I'll bring you back around. I won't kick you out, but I'll bring you back around so we can make it pertain to Hex at least, or crypto at least. But everybody likes your moon talk and your hollow titanium moon talk and your astrology. What's my sign? Do you know my sign?
What's your birthday? Yeah, what's your birthday?
Well, I mean, you can't figure it out. Just
oh goodness. I mean, I've done it before. I'll tell you something, and this is going to be really hard to believe, right? But I have guessed it. I think 2 or 3 times in my life, I have guessed people's exact birthday and year just by analyzing them and thinking about them and looking at the person and talking to them. I've guessed their exact birthday 2 or 3 times in my life. Crazy stuff.
It is.
Yeah. It's only happened 2 or 3 times though.
So you can't figure it out then, right?
It would take, I might, if I just sit here and just really, it's better over text because I can just sit there and
not even my birth date. You don't have to get the date. What's the sign?
It takes some time. I would have to sit here and be really boring and think about it and look at you and think about you and sit here for about 5 or 10 minutes and think about it. And then I would have a 10% chance of getting it right.
10%.
All right. So what else we got here in the chat? I got this stupid scroller backwards. RG3 was born at midnight, New Year's Eve, in the year 000. Fucker.
Look at anybody that ever tells you that they're a Scorpio. Look at how pretty they are and how pretty they act and how dainty they act. Just notice that, because people, when they're Scorpios, like I've seen people. I worked with this girl. She thought she was a Scorpio. She had like Scorpio tattooed across her chest, and she was the most pretty, just dainty, dress up type of person I've ever seen. Always dressed as well as could be. Always had all the jewelry, had her hair done, everything. And the reason is because she was a Libra. That's how Libras are. So that's the reason why everybody thinks that this astrology stuff doesn't make any sense, is because it doesn't. The model that everybody uses is total garbage, so it doesn't make any sense. But if you were to actually run through it using a real model, it really starts to make you think, okay, how on earth is this ridiculousness real? Because I mean, think about this. Like I'm a mathematical kind of guy. I'm a scientific kind of guy. I'm not going to sit here and believe stuff just because somebody says it. But then when you actually go through it and see how these things match up, it's like, okay, is this really like simulation that we're living in? How is this stuff actually working? So you really got to wonder.
Well, in native cultures and oral traditions, we believe in that. And as far as how it affects you and how you're born and what energy you're born under, and they didn't call it Leo and Scorpio and Capricorn and all that kind of stuff. They called it, it was, well, I mean, they didn't even call it that. That's all that other book crap. But anyway, they believed in the time that you were born. You were affected by the science of the universe, because we're traveling through space and moving around and bumping up against other things, and different energies are hitting you at the time that you're taking your first breath, and you're affected by that. And that's how those cultures believed. And so I believe there's something to it. Now, what these people can tell you online and in these books and everything, I think is probably 99% bullshit. But there is something to it. And you can tell by people's personalities. People have different personalities that are born under different astrological signs.
You said I was a Pisces?
Probably. My first wrong guess will be that RG3 was born in January. That's my first wrong guess.
Yeah. I'll just tell you now it was August.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. So that would probably put you as a Cancer from the Indian perspective, which that makes sense to me. Got so many things on my mind. Oh, the guys in chat were asking about 2023.
Yeah, what's
I
up with
tweet.
2023?
Yeah, I tweeted the other day that, and it was kind of like an Easter egg. I really believe that around Valentine's Day 2023 is going to be a really, really good time for Hex. So I just think that would be a really good time to end some stakes. I'm not saying to end all your stakes on Valentine's Day 2023, but I think some stakes around that time would be really good, because I think by that time, by early 2023, the price of Hex will. The only way that I can rationalize my predictions for 2023 Hex prices is we probably will have started to encounter some type of domestic currency crisis. That's the only thing that makes any sense, because
Adoption of crypto.
Hexologist,
yes,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, that's the only thing that makes any sense, because my predictions for 2023 are so high that the dollar must have taken some serious damage.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then that's where we're going to see a lot different than 33 cents, huh?
Yeah, no, 33 cents. I mean, at that point, I feel like the prices are going to be so high that we may not even necessarily. I mean, this is moon talk here. It's really hard to know, but I can't imagine the dollar is going to be in good shape at that point. But at the same time, I'm kind of the opinion that the dollar is the world reserve currency and everybody uses it. Nobody cares what happens. They're still going to use it day to day. But then at the same time, I see crypto going up so much that I don't know how that can be true. So it'll be a wait and see kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, other coins have gone up more, and
it's a possibility that the crypto people end up creating inflation just through all the purchases.
I'm just like by that point, I feel like we're going to definitely be into the multi-trillion market caps for cryptos. Right. And when you start getting in, I think about 2023, let's say that Bitcoin, or just say that a crypto is worth $1 trillion market cap or more. Yeah. What is gold going to be in that scenario? Is gold still going to be worth $10 trillion, or has it gone to 100 trillion? If gold has gone to 100 trillion, what is the dollar even worth at that point? It's so hard to say. And then under that exact same line of thinking, I wonder, okay, if the dollar has sustained significant damage, let's say that you have made a lot of gains in Hex. Can you actually do anything with those gains? Can you actually buy anything with it? Or will society be so destabilized that you can't even hire a guy to pour concrete for you? It's hard it's just too many options.
Yeah. So question, if you couldn't own Hex, what would you own? Other crypto, gold, real estate, bond? I'll tell you what my opinion was. I was getting out of crypto. I was going to just keep my crypto bags and hold them and just let them sit. I was actually contemplating just moving them over to Bitcoin about 8-9 months ago, just dumping them all in Bitcoin. If I was waiting for Hex to come out, but I was like, I'm gonna dump them all in there and just forget about crypto, and then start looking at more rental properties and move on into that. That's always a good move in California. But because the market is at its peak right now, I was going to wait for a crash and then try and capitalize on some of that and grab another piece of property or something. And funding Jim's ass. And then the other thing for me is steel cars. You can never go wrong with steel cars. If you're getting cars that are pre, 75 and earlier, you can't go wrong with them. 80s and on, most cars are shit. But any steel cars, those hold value, and you can pick them up. Because a lot of people, what they do with cars that are pre-70 cars and early 70s and before, they put a lot of money into them. They're their babies. A lot of these guys, they'll dump 20, 30, 40 grand into these cars, and then they have to dump them, and they end up having to dump them for 15, 20, 25 grand, and they're still very valuable. You can usually make a few grand off of each of these things. And I have some good friends and myself that we do that. We have a swap meet out here that a lot of people take their cars to and whatnot. And you can find a bargain. You got cash with you. You can find a bargain and make a couple grand every month, just having fun driving a new car and, hot rodding it around and then dumping it at the end of the month. So cars, I like cars. He said something about guns too. I like old guns. Definitely old guns are a good value. And then property. I don't see too much in the trading stuff. I'm not big on I do have some like football or baseball cards, basketball cards. I bought some for my kid to put them in the safe. He's got like some Kobe rookies and stuff like that, but I don't see those as being really, really valuable. So for me, it's property, vehicles second, and then probably like, guns third or something like that,
Yeah. I'd probably go. Does he mean like you can't get into Hex?
He said if you can't get Hex, if you can't get Hex, what would you have invested in? What would you have been putting your money into?
I would have just crypto real estate, and then probably it's kind of the same thing you said basically, but in terms of the collectibles, I probably would have gone into like, now this sounds pretty funny to say, but remember nostalgia sells, right? I would have bought $10,000-$20,000 worth of like Nintendo 64 games, and then just selling them later on for more money and stuff. There are people, especially like millennials my age or a little bit older, are just trying to buy back their childhood. So you can buy these consoles, 4 controllers, get yourself like in Nintendo 64 games, the top titles, people just buy them in bundles and don't care if they pay $200-$300 over the combined price, just because they want to play those games right now. And as millennials and the next generation Y, as they get older, they have more dispendable income, and bam, they'll pay more and more and more. It's kind of like all those the tin I forgot what they call the tin toys for like the boomers. Like the boomers grew up with some tin toys when they were kids, and then now those things are worth quite a bit of money because those are like the hot, it was like the Tickle Me Elmo of their time that they couldn't get their hands on.
I like toys too. I don't own a bunch of them, but I do have and I like, but those are just things I like collecting. I have vinyl, and I have some toys. I have some like original 1964 GI Joes in the box and all that.
Wow!
But those are just kind of like, I just wanted them. I didn't really want to trade them or give them. They're kind of like heirloom type things more than anything, to be honest. Same with my vinyl. My vinyl's like, I got like every old 70s and 80s punk rock vinyl that there is known to man, and that's like my collection. I'm not ever going to sell it or anything, so they're more like heirlooms. So I don't see them as like cars. I see as something that I can get and sell, except for my Volkswagens. I keep my Volkswagens, but everything else is just kind of like I see as a store of value or as an investment. But the trading stuff, the cards, the toys, all of those things, I don't know. I see those as kind of like more like heirlooms to pass on to your kids when they split all your shit up when you're dead. I mean, they're valuable, and they probably won't sell them either, if you have just a handful of them or whatever. But that's like, my family, we've passed on stuff like that for years, and it doesn't get sold. It just, sits there. But, that's and for me, I don't know what it is. I mean, I have some, but I don't like it. Gold. I just don't like it. I don't know. I don't know. I guess other people do. They like the coins and all that kind of stuff. I have a few, but I don't. And I have some just gold, but I don't get into it for some reason. It just doesn't float my boat. It's not that it's not a valuable, tradable asset, but I don't know. It just doesn't float my boat.
Yeah, that's definitely what I would invest in. Number one would be this gold right here. I love this. This stuff is great. To me, it's it's actually the only reason I even care about crypto. It's just to get more gold. That's, in my opinion, that is the end goal. I thought that was everybody's end goal.
To get more gold?
Man.
That's the only reason I'm in crypto is to get more gold. That's it.
Really?
That's
interesting because I don't feel that same way at all.
Yeah,
King
to
Midas,
me,
it's nice to meet you.
I'd like to sell all mine for more crypto. Actually, I'd like to sell my gold right now for some hacks.
Well, To me, gold is the only form of money in the entire world. It's the only thing that is actually money. And the silver bugs will get upset with me about that, but I don't think silver is money. I don't think platinum, palladium, rhodium, I don't think any of that stuff is money. I think gold, and I'm quoting Alan Greenspan, the former head of the Central Bank of the or not the Federal Reserve, really. And he said gold is money, nothing else. And I completely agree with that. So if we are in HEX, for example, I'm getting an echo just a little bit. If we're in HEX, for example, and our goal is for number to go up to get more money, to me, that means to get more gold, because if it's not gold, it's not money. So that's just my opinion, though. And I'm pretty serious about that. I'm not confident that, I'm confident enough that I'm going to keep like really long-term stakes, as some portion of my entire, holdings forever. But I'm not confident enough that crypto will still exist in 50 years that I would be okay tying everything up into that. I think gold's going to be around for a long time. It's been worth something for thousands and thousands of years, and I think it's going to keep being worth something. And part of that ties into, I like stability, I like predictability, I like foundations, and that's what gold is. You're not going to wake up in the morning and all of a sudden your gold is not going to be worth anything. It's never going to happen. So I really like that aspect of it, and it's just that simple to me. It's the only thing that's money. So that and farmland. I think farmland is good because you can't eat gold, right? So no matter how great gold is, you can't eat it. And farmland would definitely be my number 2 for sure.
Yeah, land's always number 1 for me. I don't know about the whole gold thing. I just don't. I don't feel the same way about it, to be honest. It's more like Bitcoin to me as far as a currency goes. But
well, if you're rolling in that much paper, it wouldn't be crazy just to have some gold. Why not?
Well, I do. I mean, I'm not dumb. I'm diversified. I do have some, and then but I don't see if shit hits the fan. Okay, so gold bugs are like, shit hits the fan, I got my gold. But if shit hits the fan, how is gold going to be the currency?
If stuff hits the fan, the only thing that's going to have value is food and ammo.
Food and ammo, and food, water, ammo, land. Yeah. And I
don't think gold is a good doomsday investment. And there's some other downsides of gold. Gold does not generate an income. It does absolutely nothing. It does not collect any interest whatsoever. It just sits there.
It doesn't grow. It
doesn't grow. It just sits there and it shines. That's all it does. And that is, that's what money is, though. Money doesn't necessarily have to grow. It doesn't have to do anything but hold value. And probably one of the reasons why I like gold a lot is because at times I can be stability seeking. Not everybody's like that. Not everybody seeks stability. It's not everybody's forte. But to me, that's what gold is. From a financial perspective, it's the ultimate form of stability by far.
You should just look into Pax Gold, man. Since you
well, see, here's the thing. I don't necessarily know who runs that, and I don't like gold as an appreciation vehicle. That's not necessarily what I want it for. Like I would think that Pax G or an ETF for gold would be great if you're trying to play the markets or trade. But to me, if you don't have gold physically, there's really no point. It really defeats the entire purpose of the concept. There's no point anymore.
Now, weren't there some cryptos that they tried to attach to gold and there's really nothing to them, or what? I thought I had seen some of those in the past.
There's a couple, but I think Pax Gold is the only one that has any legs that I've seen. Yeah, pretty much. But that's kind of a stablecoin gold, sort of, if that makes any sense.
And the reason why I put gold above land is land has a very large counterparty risk. So gold has no counterparty risk, especially jewelry. Jewelry, I think, is a lot better than coins because you can pretty much carry as much jewelry with you probably if you want it as you want to. But land has a massive counterparty risk.
Yeah.
And that counterparty risk is the fallibility of governments. And so to me, that's why I think gold is number one, because there's no guarantee that your government is going to be competent within 50 years. And there's no guarantee that they're even going to let you keep the land. They could skyrocket your taxes 5,000% if they want to. And there's really absolutely nothing you can do about it. You lose everything.
And that's the problem. And that's the problem. Unless you can turn your land into a money producing device, where you're either farming it or you're renting it out for other people to either graze on it or live on it or whatever, then it's really useless, because you're sitting there paying taxes, and then you have the counterparty risk and everything else. So unless you have that actually doing something, going out and buying a swath of land out in the middle of nowhere that's unimproved or whatever is a waste of money, in my opinion. Because you're never probably going to build there. You're never going to get utilities out to it, unless you stick some kind of hunting shack out there with a sump and the this and that, and then you just, what do you got? A place to go stay. But there's really other than land going up in value, very it's just as volatile as crypto almost at times. So. I don't know, unless you could turn it into a rental property, like out here in California, rental properties are very equitable. You can make a lot of money doing that. If you buy in a down market, and the rent out here is insane. I mean, people pay twice as much for rent in my neighborhood than I pay to own. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And I'm not exaggerating, twice as much. Yeah. And twice as much out here is like insane. Some people would be like choke on what the prices are. People are paying, anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 a month in rent out in these areas.
Yep.
$3,000 to $6,000 a month in rent. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
That's for real. Yeah.
So
even though a mortgage messes you up, if you get a 30-year fix, right? But usually by year 11, year 15 of that, what you're paying in mortgage is way lower than everyone else is paying in rent by that time. So you get kind of slammed at the beginning and you get saved at the end, but you do get kind of shafted because you're paying twice the sticker price over time with the interest. So yeah.
So Dimitar Lavlin says, I'll put it up here real quick. Governments can seize your gold too.
I don't know that any government has ever seized gold jewelry. I mean, they can. They made gold coins illegal in 1933, but they did not seize gold jewelry, and that's another reason why I harp on gold jewelry. But a downside in that scenario is you got to pay to store gold, and that can be expensive. You got to pay a vault if you have a significant amount of gold. You've got to pay a vault to keep it for you, and there's some counterparty risk there if you don't trust the vault, or if the vault runs off with your money. So there's definitely pros and cons.
Ownership just costs, period.
Yeah.
You own something, it just costs you something, always. It's never free, ever.
Somebody out there trying to get their hands on it, that's for sure. That's for sure. Got
to find a good vault, and maybe even spread them out over the globe. Maybe put one vault in Switzerland, one vault in the Caribbean somewhere. I mean, maybe not the Caribbean, but anywhere.
What we need to do is create Capsule Corp, right? And then from there, we have all our stuff in our little pocket right here, right? So we click, throw our thing out, and then there's our thing of gold.
Yeah, from Dragon Ball Z, you get the little
the little capsule.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Hell yeah, man!
I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
What? You haven't seen Dragon Ball Z?
What's Dragon Ball?
Oh my god! It's like the best. It's the best anime show of all time, bro. It's the best. It's a cartoon, anime or cartoon or whatever. You really never heard of DBZ Goku or anything?
I don't watch any of that stuff, dude. I watch Puppy Dog Pals with my 3-year-old, and that's it.
Funding Jim says they didn't seize coins in 1933. I'm almost positive that gold bullion became illegal to own.
I could have swore that was the case too. I don't know if it was 33, but I knew it was back then somewhere that they had made it
Yeah.
illegal to
Yeah.
have bullion.
In fact, it was so illegal that recently, people who have, I think people who got gold coins, they found them from that era that had not been turned in. They had them seized by the government just because.
What? Wow.
Yeah, they made it illegal because it was illegal. You couldn't own them. You
But
couldn't
they-
have those coins, like the old double eagles and stuff like that. They were
Yeah.
illegal to have. They
Yeah.
were contraband.
And they offered it over the market price, is what he was
Maybe
saying.
that's a conspiracy theory. Maybe there's
Yeah.
real gold and fake gold now.
Yeah, no one came to your door to seize the gold. You had to voluntarily turn it in, but if you didn't voluntarily turn it in, you were violating the law. There wasn't someone illegally searching and seizing gold from people's homes.
Right. That probably wouldn't have gone very well.
No, but just the fact that they made it illegal was,
Yeah, and jewelry was not affected, and I see no reason why that's not going to happen again. Probably to a worse extent. And to me, 24 karat jewelry, it just trumps coins in every single way, except for the price over spot. There's going to be a little bit of a price over spot, probably a good 20% markup. But in a scenario where gold goes to $10,000 an ounce, at 20% is just not going to matter.
Right.
So are you telling me that when you unstake, you're going to go buy gold with your hex?
Probably.
He's gonna be like he's gonna be like that Indian dude with gold all over him. He's like, I'm in it for the technology, bro. Gold out.
I love that gold chainmail. That's like a badass shirt, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think that guy got killed actually.
What's
Wait,
that?
really?
Yeah,
What?
I think he got killed like a couple years ago. Yeah,
For
he
what?
got robbed. He got robbed.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you actually wear it, though. That's crazy.
It's supposed to be for weddings, actually.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think
So
there's
that's
like
real. So that's real.
That's real. Yeah, there's some weird law, I think, in India and in parts of like the Middle East where you're only allowed to have gold if it's not for a dowry but for a wedding ceremony or something, right? So what they did is they took it to the nth degree. And they were like, if I can only have gold coins or gold rings, right? They made entire suits made of gold rings, and technically they're all wedding rings.
Wow.
If Peter Schiff has a vault service, I might use that.
Gold money, baby. Yeah, I think he does it through Brinks.
Yeah,
So
Mike
does he
Maloney
have
and all
his
those guys.
And now does he have his own like gold company or something? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really pay
Yeah,
attention.
yeah. He has his own gold company. He actually.
So do you buy a
sells
certificate
gold.
from him or something? Does he do the
Probably.
certificate thing? Yeah.
Probably.
Because
yeah.
you can buy gold that way too, right? You get a certificate and
Yeah.
they say you got gold.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, that would probably be ideal. And I don't know if it would be an all in kind of thing, but I think probably at least 10% with a registered vault service is probably a good idea.
Yeah, he was a billionaire. Funding Jim said, he did get killed. Damn.
Wow.
Fuck, man.
In India, where did he say? I
He's
missed
like an Indian billionaire.
Dang. It seems like he should have been able to hire a security team.
Right. But
So-
in those areas, like the income disparity is insane. It's sort of like a bunch of dudes are just super jealous because you're like banging all the chicks essentially or something. And, that's I've heard that thing where it's like not income inequality, or it's not like if everyone's poor, it's not as violent. It's when there's some guys that have all the money essentially, and essentially they're able to get more females than the other males, and the other males get mad. Essentially, that's when the violence goes up. When there's disparity of being able to show off to females.
Wow.
Yeah,
It always comes down to the females, man. Always.
I've always, I mean, I see everybody's security and anonymity and everything online and all that, and I understand that don't want to get doxxed, and it's probably more embarrassing than anything is to be doxxed, and then of course people can mess with your identity and steal shit and cause a whole bunch of problems for you. But as far as like having money, like the neighborhood next to mine is, 3 to some of them are $12 million homes. Um, and those people are extremely wealthy. And I mean, even in Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, and all that, all those homes you can just like walk up to. They're not gated communities, they're not security, and these are people that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And I don't ever see, them getting their families, abducted or, that kind of stuff. I mean, it is Southern California, so I mean, but still, I don't see a whole bunch of that kind of stuff happening out here in the U.S. I know that it does happen outside of the U.S. I know that I had a mutual friend that was friends with Jerry Buss, with the owner of the Lakers, and he was very secretive. He had a young child, probably in his 20s now, but he was always worried about him and securing him and keeping him under lock and key. But now Jerry Buss was probably, worth, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's might have been a different situation. But, like the typical people that are out here don't seem to worry too much about that. But I mean, I know they have security and all that kind of stuff, but they don't have people walking around with them,
I mean, well, with how much they're probably paying in, like, what is that, estate tax, yearly estate tax, or no, property tax, right? I mean, their small police departments probably very well funded.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the police is out there just
funny
on the perimeter,
thing
just like,
is that we don't even have
get
a
outta
police
here.
department here.
Wait, you guys dissipated the police department in your area?
No, it's the place I live is an unincorporated county. Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
and that's the thing. People know that everybody's packing, and all of these homes out where I live is probably, loaded with small arsenals, and but
I got
no,
my police department back there.
I live in an unincorporated area, so we don't have like local police. We have CHP and sheriffs that have to be, called out here, so they don't even have, that kind of stability as far as a local police department.
I like having multiple police departments within my own house. That's ideal.
That's the way I run, buddy. That's the way I run. We take care of our own out here. That's for sure.
Police trained dogs, heat sensing lasers,
Yeah.
submachine guns.
Everyone's talking about my yapper dog. I lost my other dog just this last year. He was an Ambolneo Mastiff, and man, they're just the best dogs on the planet, man. I wish I could find a picture of my guy. I couldn't bring it up, but they're just awesome guard dogs. Awesome. My buddy actually invented the breed, and I love them. Look them up, Ambolneo Mastiffs, Ambullneo. So it's a take on American Bulldog, Neapolitan Mastiff, and Bull Mastiff. And they're just guardian companions, night vision, the whole thing, man. Big freaking heads like this, just monster. 180 pounds.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. They're bad boys, man. They're bad boys. They are bad.
Yeah.
I like big dogs.
I got
like little dogs, too.
Great peonies right now.
What do you got?
A great peonies.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, those are pretty big. I don't think they're 180 pounds. I think they get to 160 tops.
Yeah, but they're big. And they get them wet and they'll weigh 200 pounds.
I know. I've got like I got a little puppy. She's like, she's like 3.5 months old right now. And she's as big as my German Shepherd already. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, Brand's saying, sorry to hear that. Lost my dog. And we got a new. The real sad thing is we lost our Amble, and then we lost our Chihuahua. Our Chihuahua was, grew up with my daughter, 14-year-old Chihuahua. And that was the hardest one. It was one thing losing the big guy, but the little Chihuahua was like, ugh. So we've always had a little Chihuahua and a big guard dog. So people, the yapper yaps, and then the big one's waiting there to come get you when you come into the door. What about you, Good Texture? You got some good animals out there?
Not right now. There's a stray cat. No, there's a stray cat that comes around sometimes, and I feed it beef liver. I had my goats. I had goats last year, but then I went to Baltimore for a while, so I gave them away to another farm. Man, I love those goats. I really did love those goats.
Goats are cool.
They're cool. I used to the billy goat that I had. I used to fight with him.
Oh, okay.
No, I used to fight with him. That was a lot of fun. I'd grab him by the horns and have him headbutt me, and we had a whole lot of fun. Oh yeah. Oh, we had a whole lot of fun. I trained him. Oh, it was so cool. I would train him to high five me. He would high five me. So I would put my hand up like this, and he would rear up on his back legs and kind of dance around on his back legs, and then take his head and just go boom and just headbutt me in the hand. We had a lot of fun.
Oh, hold on a second. I was gonna not to get too off subject.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Oh yeah, we're way off. Goats, they smell. The boys will smell awful if they're sometimes.
These are Ambonios here. This is my buddy. He invented this breed.
You have 180-pound dog, and it looks like that.
Yeah, that's them right there,
dude.
This is
hell,
that's Anastasia. No, they're not pit bulls. They're Ambonio Mastiffs. That's Anastasia.
Dang. You got one of those?
I had one of those. I lost him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, how old was he?
He was only 3. There he is right there. Holy smokes. That's my boy right there. That was my boy.
I like that collar, man. I like that collar.
You had to have that, man. That guy was something else. But that's Maximus right there. That one.
Looks like Mike Tyson, man. Jeez.
Oh, dude, he was a specimen, man. He was a specimen. I miss that guy. But yeah, not to get too far off. But those are the kinds of things you can get with Hex, guys. Is badass dogs.
That would be cool to build a big, massive fence around your house and have like tons of those dogs in your place. Oh, man, you'd be bulletproof.
Oh yeah.
Donkeys are really fun to have too. Have you ever had donkeys? Donkeys are hella fun.
So that's what I'd like to do. I'm looking at land in Puerto Rico. Because have you guys been on the dream site yet? The what do you call it? The
Hex Dreams.
Hex Dreams.
Yeah. The on the Telegram.
Yeah. So I started doing a little bit of that myself, and kind of like just looking at stuff and checking out. Let me see.
Ban Escatar because he says that goats suck. So ban him.
Yeah.
Really, dude. Really.
Miniature goats are really cool.
If you're lucky, Hexter, good texter says, if you're lucky, they suck. So, but yeah, I've been looking at property in Puerto Rico. I was like, okay, so on the beach would be nice out here, Rincon area. But well, wait a minute. Like good texter just saying, I want a farm that I can put a fence around and throw some badass dogs out there, and have myself a compound. A surf compound out
That'd
there.
Be sweet.
Yeah, it would. Because did you guys ever watch our Crazy Uncle John's movie about him running around the South America? McAfee.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He had a compound, man. He had a compound set up down there. I forget what country he was living in at the time. When he got a bunch of trouble. But
Bolivia?
No.
Isn't that Bolivia?
I thought he was more in Colombia. I thought that's where he was, but I may be wrong. I don't know. But wherever he was, he had a freaking compound. He had like freaking guard tower in there and guards, armed guards around him. And that was like, he had that whole place like dialed in like a compound. But I mean, I guess when you're making that kind of money, you're living out in a foreign country like that, then you got to protect it. But Puerto Rico is different because it's a U.S. territory.
I think it starts with a G, the one he was at. Guatemala? Yeah, he was in Guatemala.
Yeah.
So dude was the police.
Oh yeah, he did. He owned a bunch of strong arms that like the police didn't mess with those guys. Those guys were like his own private security force.
So Puerto Rico is so small. Is there any raw land even left in Puerto Rico?
Lots of
Really?
it. Lots of it. Yeah, I was looking like I was looking now. Some of the raw properties are semi-developed, which is kind of a cool thing because like what you'll see is they'll build little neighborhoods and private homes will go in there and they'll start doing home building. And then there's plots there. And it's not like you would see like out here in California where people are on top of each other or whatever. It's like, they have nice plots. They're building these neighborhoods out there. And of course, down in the city, they've got like messes where they've got high-rise apartment buildings that are like 35 feet high. I mean, 35 stories high, and you're buying apartments up there and crap. And some of them are pretty expensive. I mean, some of the Puerto Rico stuff is expensive, I think, because they're starting to get a lot of people with money coming in there because a lot of people with money are coming to Puerto Rico. So, there's a lot of real estate agents that are selling those types of properties, but you can do they specialize in like city living, country living, and then of course beach living. So, but yeah, the countryside and the mountains are just, I mean, you can get all kinds of stuff up there, like off grid shit. You know what I mean? They got some cool shit up there.
Hex Yoda made a funny point. He says, good texture defending goats because he doesn't want to offend Baphomet. That was actually what I named that goat. I had a black goat and I named him Bop.
My God.
I named him Bop. It's kind of short for Baphomet because he looked like the freaking Baphomet. He was black. He was a black goat.
What was the thing like? What was it like this or something?
Yeah. And he was doing all this stuff. Yeah. No, that's what I named him. I named him Little Bop.
Don't sleep on donkeys, man. They'll fuck a mountain line up, man. For real.
The thing I don't like the thing about donkeys is you can't make your own donkeys. You got to have a horse and a whatever. They don't breed correctly.
We've got like some wild.
You're talking about machos, right?
You're talking about a mule. You're talking about a mule.
Yeah. Donkeys, I'm talking about a mule.
Donkeys make donkeys. Mules are eunuchs.
Mules will really mess up a line. I mean, I think 4 donkeys will mess up a mountain lion. I think 2 mules will destroy a mountain lion.
Well, so in Puerto Rico, do they have like cattle farms in Puerto Rico?
I don't know about that. That would be a cool little gig, though. Like, put together what do you call it? A Wagyu farm of some type, like a beef farm out in Puerto Rico. That would be a cool deal.
I would love that. I'm just curious what the restrictions are. Like if the land restrictions are so intrusive that they would restrict you from having cattle and stuff.
They are really welcoming people to come in, especially from the crypto community. So like if you've got like hex divs that you just, I mean, you don't want to pay taxes on it. It's not worth it to pay taxes on it. And you want to, put together an online. Now, see, it's different for your businesses are different out there too. So if you have an online business, you get a really good tax break. But if you are selling something, well, maybe I don't know if you export it, and Funding Jim would probably have a better answer to that question than I do. But if you're exporting something like, say, Wagyu beef or something, I don't think you get the tax breaks on your business. That is, you still get the breaks on your gains for your crypto, but the 20 and 22, I forget if it's 20 or 22 that gives you the benefit of having a business as long as that business is not doing something for Puerto Rican community. So like you can't open up a store in Puerto Rico and sell goods out of it to the Puerto Rican community. You have to be doing like have an online store, some type of a Amazon, deal, something like that. Then you can get the 22 or 20 benefit, but not if you're doing something like there. But now if it was just strictly an export, I don't know how that would work. That would be cool to like take your hex divs and get a Wagyu farm put together. I mean, that's something I would be interested in, some specialty type beef program or something, doing Wagyu and shipping it around
New Zealand, man. Dude, because there's green grass everywhere, man. You could just graze cows and all kinds of stuff over there.
Does New Zealand have tax benefits for crypto holders?
I think they're friendlier than most. I think they're friendlier than most, but they still tax you, I think. I'm not too sure, to tell you the truth, but I know it's so nice over there.
I think Puerto Rico is probably wet enough that it would sustain cattle pretty easily.
I mean, it's like I mean, it's like tropical. I mean, I don't know how much grazing land they might have there, but I know
Yeah.
they do have. They do have like a frontera. They have a lot of like jungle forests and shit like that, and a lot of mountain ranges. A lot of, I mean, not huge mountain ranges, but a lot of countryside towards the middle of the island, because there's most of the people live on the shore, of course, but there's a lot of property. It's not a small place. Puerto Rico is not really a small place when you look at it, the size of it in the Caribbean there.
I always thought it was really small. I need to look at it again.
Yeah, no, it's actually it's bigger than you think. You look at the Caribbean, you're like, whoa, man, freaking Puerto Rico is a big place.
Yeah, you imagine having a gang of kangaroos.
Kangaroos.
Just patrolling the property, keeping the animals safe. Just put some iron knuckles on them and stuff, and just.
Oh, jeez.
It's about the size of the Mississippi coast.
What's that?
Puerto Rico. Yeah, like Mississippi's got a little coastal area at the very south of it. It's about the size of that little area, which is not a small. That piece of Mississippi isn't very small.
No, but I mean, if you look at it like in the size of the island, I mean, it's smaller than the DR. It's smaller than Cuba, but it's definitely bigger than all the other Caribbean islands and whatnot. The DR is bigger and Cuba's bigger.
A desert. Oh, the south side's a desert. Okay.
But it's pretty good size island.
I'm just looking at the map. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. The almighty Hex.
British Virgin Islands are close. The U.S. Virgin Islands are close. And there's like a ton of little islands right outside of it that you can go to that, people actually are building homes on those too and stuff. I don't know if that's all part of Puerto Rico or what, but I know that there are some small islands, and that would be a nice place to, get a boat and sail around all that shit.
I need to see how Portuguese people look like, because people have said I look Portuguese for some reason. I have no idea.
Portuguese?
Yeah,
you look like a fucking vato. What are you talking about, man?
Well, yo no sé lo.
Straight up from LA, man. You don't look like no friggin' Puerto Rican.
I am not from LA.
No, Portuguesean.
Portuguese. Oh, I've been told. I don't know, or French. I don't know where, but.
Hey, there's a ton of. I'm just looking at the map of Puerto Rico right now. There is a ton of, like you said, RG3. There's a lot of green, a lot of undeveloped green.
Oh yeah, and they're real friendly to outsiders.
It's pretty close,
especially crypto. They said that they've got a lot of traders, a lot of like stock traders, mutual or fund guys out there, and a lot of crypto guys out there. And a lot of internet business folks out there. So that's what their population is growing in that right now, ever since the hurricane, and they put this, 2022 Act 20 and 22 out there. But you have to live there 183 days out of the year, and then you can go back home and do whatever you want. But I don't know how strict they are to that.
Can you imagine buying a house? Your next door neighbor is Peter Schiff.
Yo, Peter, what's up, man? Hey, how's our vault doing? Our vault doing pretty good. Yeah,
I think Funding Jim knows where he lives. I think
really?
That's cool.
Yeah,
I want to go hang out with Peter.
Yeah.
I like
Bitcoiner.
This.
I think that's where I'm going. I think I'm going to big payday, and then right after that, I think me and Mama are going to fly out to Puerto Rico and go hang out there for a week and check things out, look at properties and stuff like that.
I like that the Puerto Rico elevation, the highest point, is over 4,000 feet high. That is really cool.
That's up there, man.
Yeah, that is cool because you don't have to worry about getting flooded. That's the great thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of.
You might get blown off the top of that mountain though. Those hurricanes came through there like 120 miles.
You just dig in, man. You just dig into the side of that mountain, put you a bunker in the side of that mountain, you'll be good.
You make
My guess is they build those houses pretty strong out there, because like my buddy, he moved to Western Samoa and they built the damn thing out of cinder blocks. His homes all the homes out there were built out of cinder blocks because of the hurricane. So they might do the same thing out there in Puerto Rico because of that.
Yeah, it would need. Whoa, Christopher Columbus went to Puerto Rico. That's cool.
Oh, so he raped and pillaged there too.
Yeah, I shouldn't laugh at that. Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus.
Terrible dude. Fuck.
He's not okay in our book.
Oh well. I don't know the history super well. I just know he was on a pirate ship. That's all I know.
He wasn't a pirate ship. He was on an asshole ship. Pirates are different.
Okay.
Well,
it looks. So y'all are wanting to. You and your wife are wanting to go out to Puerto Rico, kind of around or after Big Payday, and see what's up.
Yeah, definitely. I want to go out there and get a real feel for it. Get a hold of a good realtor, and I mean, I think that's going to be my plan. I've been looking at it pretty deep, and I think that's going to be my exit scam. Is I'm going to take my ass to Puerto Rico. I was going to go to Costa Rica.
Yeah,
that was my big plan, because I wanted to go somewhere in South America, and I liked the Switzerland attitude of Costa Rica. They're really like the Switzerland of South America. Nobody mess with them. They don't have a military. They don't have all those kinds of issues, and they got a lot of foreigners that live out there. So it's a very friendly place. Costa Rica is. However, the tax benefits are not there like Puerto Rico. I mean, that 20 and 22, that's a golden opportunity for if you're going to collect hex divs. If you've got some big hex divs out there,
Hispanic,
you want to realize them and you want to change your life. I mean, think about it. If you do it the proper way, you live in the US and I don't know what other countries are like, but if you do it properly and you start cashing out, you're going to pay a lot of money in taxes. And if you don't, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. So you're going to get caught, period, end of story, because the way they're watching crypto coming out of the system, you can't, you have to make sure that you're covering your assets. A CYA situation when you offboard into fiat. And even when you go to stables, as soon as you move to stables, I think that's a taxable event as soon as you make a stable move. So,
yeah. So anybody that's pulling into their bank account and not paying taxes is got some mental problems. Yeah.
So and those divs are going to be realized at a very high rate. I mean, let's just put it at $1 million. If you suck out $1 million and put it in your bank account, and no matter how many you divide, you can divide it into $10,000. To try and keep from flagging it or whatever. I know people that are thinking about doing that kind of stuff, and it's like it's not going to work because there's only a few offboarding, places for you to do that, and they're all gate kept. So as soon as you turn it into your bank account, it's a taxable event. And I think even moving to a stable coin, I don't know how they would track that unless you moved it into a stable coin into Coinbase or something like that. But if you're holding a wallet out there with a stable coin in it, I don't see how they know, but I think it is a taxable event when you do that.
I thought that was to prevent. I thought it was only like, I'm not too sure on the stable coin thing, but I know for sure if you go into fiat for sure, but who knows? So I thought they put that there for the traders pretty much originally.
Yeah, the most traceable thing is going to be anything that touches Coinbase or anything that moves from Coinbase, especially anything that moves from Coinbase into your bank account. Like that is a very, very, very concrete.
Any other onboarding platform too. I mean, there isn't anything out there that's not being gate kept to the max.
Yes. Gemini.
So, yeah, if you move your money into your account, it's going to be a taxable event. So finding a way to, realize $1 million, let's just say. So $1 million, you're going to probably, my guess is, you can probably get a good tax person and do 35%, 30%. I mean, that's a lot of money,
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, a lot of your gains. And at that point, then what are you looking at? You're looking and go, oh shit, I thought I had $1 million, but now I've only got, 70, 65, that's a big difference. Your dreams start to go, you start to compromise. It's linoleum instead of marble at that point, So, things start to change. So, doing something like that, I mean, and in my case, I'm looking at retiring anyway. I want to go somewhere where I can surf my life away or sit on a farm somewhere and do something like Good Texture's doing and just, kind of, take it easy for the rest of my life. And, a place like Puerto Rico looks like a place where that can be done,
I'm looking at cattle farms on Puerto Rico right now on the other screen. Yeah. And it's they have cattle farms on Puerto Rico.
All right, bro, let's go start a Wagyu farm. We'll call it
interesting.
Call it RG Texture.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to get the particular breeds. It's going to be interesting to get the particular breeds of cattle imported though, because like where I am now, you just put them, you go to the farmer's market or whatever and put them on a trailer and you're good. But down there, it'd be a whole different ballgame.
Don't even let you touch that Wagyu. So I don't know if you know the story on the Wagyu beef, but I don't know if it was.
I ate some today.
So there's Texas, there's Texas Kobe, they call it now, and then there's Australian Kobe, and those were stolen cows that they created those from. So the Japanese hold that Wagyu like nobody's business. Like you don't touch that Wagyu. That Wagyu is Japanese only. They feed it like they feed it. It drinks the beer. It eats the clover. It does all that, and they get their Wagyu. They get the massages and the whatever, the happy endings from the whatever. All those things are treated like that. But what somebody did was they actually stole the. I don't know if they just stole semen or if they stole cows or what they stole, but they brought it to either Texas first or Australia first, and they created the Kobe beef, which is not Wagyu, but it's a offshoot of those. And then now you have the Australian Kobe and you have the Texas Kobe. And I mean, guys, I don't know if you've when you get your Hex divs, go get yourself a fucking real Wagyu freaking. If you're a steak eater, if you're not a vegetarian like a lot of you guys are, but if you get a real Kobe beef steak or a Wagyu steak, I mean, Kobe and Wagyu is a completely different animal too. But man, there ain't nothing. You just had one, you said?
Yeah, it wasn't steak. It was just burgers.
Oh yeah. I mean, even the burgers, though. I mean, it's so freaking good, man. It's just, I don't know. I'm a steak guy, but that floats my boat, man. I'd love to get like, that would be a cool deal. Start a little Wagyu farm,
Yeah, that would be legit. I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah. I wonder what that looks like in Puerto Rico if they do have that in Puerto Rico.
I mean, I think it's
Puerto Rico.
I'm seeing agriculture.
You said you see.
I'm looking at agricultural plots of land, and I probably don't need to talk about this too much on stream because everybody's going to front run me and buy up all the
land.
Buy up all the agricultural land. This stuff's expensive though. Like this one that I'm looking at. Huh?
I'll secure some, bro.
There you go. Yeah, they're looking at like some of these. I'm trying to look at how many they want per acre, like how many dollars per acre. I can't read Spanish though. Okay, I'm guessing a huerdas is an acre. Maybe. How do you say acre in Spanish? Like going?
Acre.
Oh, okay.
Un acre.
Okay, so here's one right here. This one's only like $3,000 or $4,000 an acre, which is super cheap.
It is. Good. You said 3,000 to 4,000?
Yeah, that's like Mississippi prices right there.
Yeah, that's low, man. That's like dirt low.
Yeah, that's what we pay down here.
Man.
So do some of the people down there, what they do is like every like 6 months they just buy an acre? Is that what some people do to like for their savings?
That'd be hard to do. The paperwork and everything involved with buying land and splitting land and redrawing. What are the restrictions on us being mainland Americans buying property in Puerto Rico? Can we buy it just like anybody else?
It's a territory.
You're good. It's a territory. Yes, so you don't give up your citizenship. You remain a citizen. You get an Act 2022. You have to apply for that though. And I think it's 20 that is the, you get no capital gains on any investments. And then 22 is if you own a business, you get your taxes are like next to nothing on a business. But the other stuff you can do. You can buy property, you can own property, sell it, all that stuff. There's a little bit different process with the property. Now I was been watching online and watching people sell property on there, but Funding Jim was telling me that he goes, it's just like in the States, man, and just like in California. You get somebody comes in, helps you, the realtor, they negotiate the buy, get an escrow account, boom, 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 it's a done deal. And the property is fairly inexpensive. Now, beach property and all that stuff it's beach property. You're going to pay, high dollar for that stuff.
I don't want to be on the beach.
But and you're not that far, even if you're up in the freaking mountains. It's
I want
like
to be in the mountains.
you're not that far away, even in the mountains, And if you have a little compound out there, that's a good place to store some hex divs, And even if you're younger, for you younger folks out there, you can get your hex divs, get yourself a piece of property out there, get yourself on the act, and just go visit it. Stay in an Airbnb and go out there and improve your property every year for a few months, and do it that way. And then by the time you're ready to retire, you got a nice little farm out in Puerto Rico to go freaking retire off to.
Yeah. Good texture wants like a 3-mountain valley from all the elements and everything. It's like a hidden valley.
Yeah,
that's only accessible through by railway that he constructed by hand.
What are the gun laws?
I don't know. I didn't check on that. I don't know if you can have guns or not.
They might be strict. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That is something to look into though. But their crime is fairly low over there. I was watching them talk about that. They got a real low crime rate. Really good people out there. I guess they really enjoy
Hex Mountain.
Yeah, there we go. Hexarico, it shall become. So my plan is my first trip after Big Payday, I'm going to go down there and look at a bank and a realtor and all that, and kind of get all that secured and just hang out for a week and look at the nice areas, go around the island, go inland, go on the beaches, hang out, stay at a nice Airbnb on the beach, and handle some business, and then plan on going back out there the next season and doing it up right.
Yeah, gun laws in Puerto Rico are really weird.
Oh, do they have? Are you seeing them?
Yeah, I'm seeing some weird stuff. Like you have to bring 3 friends to vouch for you and sign for you to say that you're a good person and all this kind of stuff. That's strange.
I would imagine that probably that can be handled with some cash.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, but you go out there and you start establishing, man. I don't think there would be a problem.
Well, it looks like they're legal. It looks like they're somewhat legal. It's just strange.
Yeah. So I'll tell you how you do it, good texture. So you take your farm that you got and all your stuff, and you put it in sea containers. Get a couple of sea containers dropped off at your place. You pack them all full, put your truck in there, whatever else you want in there. Your solar panels, your windmills, your tools, all the stuff that you can get here at the States that you don't have to pay a bunch of money in, and then you ship those sea containers over there, and then you bury those sea containers and make them vaults for yourself, and build your house on top of it.
Yeah, because I've got a lot of tools. Can you actually, say you were to? I've got an entire shed, of tools. If I were to say I was wanting to go to Puerto Rico, could I actually take one of those sea containers and just put all my tools in there and ship it to Puerto Rico?
Yep. So check this out. A buddy of mine went to Western Samoa, and I told him the same thing because I hold machinery, and that's what we did. The machinery would come in these sea containers. We pulled machinery out, put it in, And I told my buddy, he's like, "Man, I'm going to Samoa, and I'm retiring. I'm going out there. I just don't know how to get on." I said, "Dude, I'll just order you a sea container. We'll drop it off in the park in the apartment here in the parking lot." Literally, we stuck one right in the parking lot at the apartment. He put his Toyota pickup truck in there. He put all his solar panels in there, all his tools, all his stuff that he wanted. He didn't take a bunch of furniture. He just took the necessities that he wasn't going to be able to get on the island. He took all that stuff that he wasn't going to be able to get there and just packed that sea container full, shipped it out, and then he turned that into a garage when he got it to Western Samoa.
He put his pickup truck in there?
He put his Toyota pickup truck in there and took it to Western Samoa with him.
I
He's
love
like, I
that.
ain't getting rid of this thing, man. This is my workhorse. He goes, and they,
Damn.
the stuff that they have out there isn't what he had. He had a really nice Toyota, and he put it in there and packed all the shit in and bugged out to Western Samoa.
Yeah. I
Wow.
would stay away from Poland, man. That place always gets steamrolled every World War. Man.
Yeah, they do. They get obliterated.
Fuck.
Does Poland have some type of program?
No.
No.
RG3's just like, do they have a program? Do they?
Hey, you know what, man? It's like I've been around the world and most of it's shitholes. Sorry. I mean, there's been some nice places here, nice places there. But I mean,
Poland's
if
really
if
cool.
I'm going to move away from paradise, which is what I call Southern California, then it better give me a monetary benefit. I better be able to realize most of my hex gains and not,
and there's also like the type of everybody likes certain types of people. Like I wouldn't want to go to Asia. I would be okay going to like a Hispanic country or a European country, but that's really it. I wouldn't want to go to any other kind of country.
Yeah, you got to be real careful with all the governments. I mean, and like you said, especially in Asia. However, I did when I was in Thailand last year, a couple of years ago. I was in Thailand, and I liked it, man. It was a really nice country, and Vietnam's really nice now too. And like places like Koh Samui, outside of the islands outside of Thailand. So all those islands down there are really cool. But like Japan, it's just it's just hard to. I mean, you just can't. Like you can go to Puerto Rico and settle there, and you're still people speak English there. It's hard to do something like go to Japan and fit into the language is hard. Reading and writing is hard. You don't have any tax benefits.
You're always a gaijin.
Unless you're
an outsider.
Unless you're like, and you're always an outsider, especially in Japan, because they're Japan, Korea, the bigger countries like that. Like for some reason, I've seen that the smaller countries are friendly, and the bigger countries are a little more, less inclined to accept you as easy. But in Japan, like young guys go there to go pick up on women and stuff. And I know that they do that, but I mean,
Belarus is another one.
What's that? Belarus?
Belarus, they have very good crypto laws. The only thing about Belarus, though, is that's the kind of place where you go and, somebody probably, kidnaps you and takes your kidneys.
Where's Belarus?
I think it's a Soviet country, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I'd stay away from Eastern Bloc countries too, like Poland.
Really?
I mean, I would. I wouldn't go there. They're just like you said. There's just too much of that criminal element out there. I mean, South America, things have changed down there. Over the years here, and what used to be war torn and wrecked has changed a lot. And I mean, I trust those places better. But I mean, you can't go wrong with the U.S. territory. I mean, Puerto Rico's a freaking U.S. territory.
That's true.
Then you go to Malta. Yeah. Malta's a nice place too. Malta has the benefits. Portugal, from what I understand, has the benefits, but Malta is like very expensive. You gotta drop like $645K on a house, or no, not a house. You got to buy a house, and you got to give them, the government, $645K just to start your program there. So that's like
Malta's microscopic. Like that island is tiny.
It's a rock. It's just a little rock.
I don't like that.
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
The Puerto Rico thing sounds really cool, though.
Yeah. It looks like, I mean, that is like a golden ticket right there. No capital gains on your hex, guys.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. I better stop talking about it. You guys are going to steal my property.
Everybody's going to front run us. I'm just like, so do you actually have to start to experience the no capital gains? Do you have to, start a business?
No, you have to be accepted in the program of I think Act 20. They call it Act 20 and Act 22. So Act 20, I believe, and I could have them backwards, but I think it's Act 20. Act 20 is you go there and you can get in this program and you can realize capital gains without any taxes. 0.
So that it's just you apply for this program and they'll accept you or not accept you.
Exactly. And I don't know if people are not getting accepted. So you got to, apply for it and get it going and all that. And then the 22 is for the business portion if you want to set up a business. So I don't know, like if you did set up a farm and say you sold exotic meats, say you sold black goat meat and freaking Wagyu steaks or something,
Black goat meat.
and you shipped it out and you didn't sell it to Puerto Ricans, that might be considered that business right there. And then now you got that with like no taxes at all. And you got your little specialty deal and you're making money and you're having fun and you're realizing your gains. I mean, it's a lot. That's a lot different than Mississippi, bro.
We might as well rename this video like Hexorico.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal, though. I mean, it's protecting.
I talk about it often because there's going to be a lot of. I'm sorry, the people who got in first, the people who are in before big payday are going to realize some big gains. And if you're going to start seeing more than $1 million worth of gains, then you might want to consider something like that. Because you're going to pay big taxes. I mean, when $1 million turns into, just a couple 100,000, I mean, it's like, oh, it hurts. That hurts.
Yeah, and it's not only that, but when your taxes are taken out, I mean, let's be honest, it's going to a system that's run by pedophiles, et cetera, et cetera. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, so at best, so let's say you get $1 million. And you realize 650, 700. What does that really get you? Even in Mississippi, get you a home,
a lot,
get you a few years, maybe a start of a business, but it's not like you're not freaking, the Sultan of Versailles or anything. You're like, you're doing all right.
It's this is the poorest state in the whole country. And, you could buy a lot with that kind of money, a lot.
Really? Yeah, Mississippi. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's like one of the poorest.
It is
poorest.
No, it's the poorest state in the country.
So 700,000, 600, 700,000 will go.
I thought that was Alabama.
There.
No, we are definitely poorer than Alabama. Alabama's ritzy.
Mississippi, dude.
What?
Dude, Alabama is ritzy.
There's like 4 teeth out there. Like 3 guys got teeth, and then Good Texture got the other one in his pocket.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Alabama's got Birmingham. Birmingham is a ritzy place compared to Mississippi for sure.
Yeah, what's the ritziest place in Mississippi?
I mean, there's pockets of it. I would probably say Brookhaven or Ridgeland down near Jackson. So the state capital of Mississippi is Jackson, and outside of Jackson there's some suburbs, and there's some suburbs on a big kind of a reservoir, just a big water area, and I would say that's probably the ritziest part is down there. And it's okay, it's cool.
But I mean, I couldn't even 600, 700,000. I couldn't even buy Litecoin a house. Couldn't get him a place.
Oh man.
You could buy it. Not in California, bro.
I couldn't even buy him a house.
He'd buy me a shack.
Buy him a shack.
You can buy, in my opinion, what is a extremely nice house for 200,000 here, and for what is to me is a nice place. I mean, it's not a mansion, but it's a nice house. 200,000.
Damn.
Man, these dudes are all talking about the Latina chicks. That's all they're talking about in chat.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, Latina chicks. That's
Puerto Rican chick. Yeah, Puerto Rico's got some a lot of Miss Universes. Let's see.
Yeah. See, that's the incentive right there.
Guys, I'm just saying. There's some benefits to young guys out there. That's for sure.
Even like Peter was saying that on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's saying his single guys from his firm are killing it.
I bet. You go out there, you got a little bit of Hex money in your pocket, and you're balling. You got yourself a nice little condo, Airbnb, and see, that's the other cool thing about it. So you take your Hex divs, get them tax free. You get yourself a little Airbnb out there. You stay in it 183 days out of the year. You come back to the States, visit mom and dad and everybody else, and hang out and spend Christmas at home and all that. And then you go back out there and you rent it out all that time. So now you're renting the thing while you're not there. You go back, you spend your time there, you do your time, get your divs, your next set of HEX divs for the next year, and you get them tax free. Go back home, visit, hang out, and I mean, it's a damn good life, to be honest, for a young guy. Holy smokes!
Hey, my friend in chat, Grandma, she asks, where do you get intellectual stimulation in Mississippi? And the answer is the internet.
What did she say?
She asked, where do you get intellectual stimulation? And my answer is the internet.
Yeah. Okay.
There's not intellectual stimulation here.
There's like, I know you guys all like my guns.
Yeah.
I know you guys like my guns right here, but these books are my knowledge. These books back here are my knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, there's not. I mean, that's growing up. That was a lot of people here that grow up here. We have a severe brain drain problem here. There's some like advanced schools in Mississippi where all the really smart kids, they just congregate and go to this one school so they can have better education. And something like 60 or 70% of every person that attends that school leaves the state. I mean, we have horrible brain drain here. Nobody stays here because there's nothing here. There's no opportunity. The only reason I'm here is just because I know people here. It's not because there's any spectacular opportunity. It's because I was born here and because I know people here. All of my professional career and all of my professional life was outside of this place. There's nothing here for that.
Yeah, but you're doing what you want to. You got a bunch of freedom there, obviously.
Well, now I do. Now I do. I didn't. Back when I was working, I was living near where Motley in the chat is up in Virginia. That's where all the money is. You want money, you go to Northern Virginia. That's where you get the money.
Yeah. Oh, lobby
money.
money.
Yeah. Ain't no money here.
It's crazy how even in America there's disparity even in the States. That's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this place is probably run by government checks. If something happens to the system in such a way that government checks stop going out, this place right here is gonna be one of the worst places that you could ever be if something happens to those checks.
Oh, wow.
Man, I'm telling you, big payday can't come soon enough.
Yeah,
for Hexicans, that's for sure, because everything's looking really bleak. And the money situation and the dollar, what could be happening over the next, year or two. If you got stakes out there in the next year or two, man, just count yourself lucky.
Yeah, especially with I can't believe after everything that we've seen this year, we've still got an election. We've still got an election.
I know that hasn't even really started. I mean, that's just sparking right now. That's going to put a whole nother wrench in this whole thing, and who knows what's going to happen with the shenanigans with all of that stuff. I mean, that could start a whole nother firestorm of just, I the sheer, I know that a lot of this stuff that's going on out in the streets today, and I don't want to get too deep into this because it turns political and shit, but a lot of the stuff that's going on in the streets is because a lot of people have a lot of free time right now, and they're scared and they're worried, and there's a lot of FOMO going on out there. There's FUD and FOMO and time on everybody's hands. And government passed out a couple of checks. That's going to keep everybody going for the next month or two. But in another month or two, it's going to be like freaking people going to start eating each other type of shit, man. I mean, it's going to get kind of weird out there. Once everybody's not paying their mortgages and their rents, and they're getting kicked out of their homes, and they're getting thrown out on the streets. And I mean, whether or not the government does something about it or not, I mean, and then the election is going to happen right at that time, and it's going to get weird as shit, man.
Yeah.
Do you notice every time? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was like, this always happens near an election. There's always some fucking crazy shit going around an election. Always.
I like this. This is going to be.
This is going to be extra.
Yeah. This year's been.
This is going to be extra special.
Can we get a fast ticket to Puerto Rico where there's no rioting and all?
You know what? I'm going to buy my ticket soon.
Yeah.
I'm getting my ticket to Florida, and then and I'm going to get my ticket soon because I don't want to mess around and get get stuck in the middle of something. I'll take a damn boat over there if I have to.
Living out in the country, I hear a lot of gunfire, just people practicing. It's out in the country. It's just what happens. But I've heard a lot more gunfire than I've ever heard before. Number one, a lot of people practicing. And then I went to they're practicing. And I went to the gun store the other day. They normally have just a bunch of AKs. I look at them and stuff. I went to the AK rack, and there were no AK-47s. And I asked the guy, I said, did y'all just sell out of AK-47s in like 2 weeks? He said, yeah, people just bought all of them. So
it's smart. They run them smart out there. That's the gun I'd be buying. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I love them.
I've never owned one. I've seen them, but I've never owned one.
They're fun. They got a little kickback though, but they're cool.
Indestructible, bro. Indestructible. I seen one get pulled out from underneath the sand. So water, sand, AK in the sand, pulled out. I mean, it's like, oh shit! You drop an M16. Well, at the time when I was in the Marine Corps, it was M16s. They don't call them those anymore. But the M16, you drop that thing in the sand, and you're done. You're done.
Well, you gotta shut the flap. You gotta keep the flap closed.
Not even that, bro. Those things, you don't even know the freaking struggle, bro. I mean, when you've got a weapon that you actually have a little button on the side to make sure that the bolt they trained us to chamber the round.
I want to show y'all what that is, just because it's so funny.
So you literally you load the weapon, you magazine insert,
right.
You charging handle. When you release the charging handle and the bolt flies in, you have a little button, and you were trained to slide the charger and then hit the button.
So this is what he's talking about, guys.
Yeah.
You see this little button right here?
Mm-hmm.
This button is to ensure that if the bolt doesn't actually engage all the way, if the gun malfunctions, they've got a button right here so you can jam the bolt into position and lock it in so the gun will fire.
It's the most ridiculous freaking.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's funny. So here's
cool, but
pulling the bolt back, and if I don't let the thing all the way up, it's probably hard to see because I don't have a flashlight. But that bolt right there.
Yeah. Now push the button, show them it move.
Yeah. Watch it move. See if it'll move. Wow, it's already all the way in there. This one's greased up so well that it's
cleaned. As soon as it gets
this one's clean.
As soon as you fire you put about a magazine or two through it, that thing starts getting carbonized, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't seat, and you got to hit that button. So it's charge.
If I try to load around, it might. If I put so now there it goes. See, this bolt right here is not fully engaged. So if I take this button on the back right here and I'll push it, watch this.
Yep.
There we go.
That's the oops button.
Yeah, you're right. That's a bad design. You're right.
It's sort of like when Jaguar back in the day would give you like a bag of tools because they knew it would break down all the time when you bought the car.
Yeah, I mean I've look. I mean when I slept with that weapon, cuddled up next to it in a bag out in the hooch out in the mountains and walked around with it. It was like my girlfriend for 4 years. And I'm sorry, it's just not the weapon that you want with you that you're carrying around all the time. The reason we clean them all the time is because if you don't have them clean, they don't work. And as soon as you get them dirty, as soon as you run some rounds through it, they just don't work.
You got to keep the flap shut.
Yeah, and you got to keep it shut. So every time you fire and it ejects, you got to close it back up.
And you don't have to get an AK-47 like the regular AK-47. They have more modern versions of it that work just as good. You can put it in the dirt and sand and stuff, so it doesn't look like because like everyone thinks the AK-47. They just think like this with the banana, with the banana clip and stuff. Or the magazine.
Here we go. The M16 guns.
Well, I don't
These
know if that's a
Maximus,
good
like,
analogy.
Yeah. The Maximus is like, this is my gun.
Because the AK-47 is older than the Bitcoin.
Zaza knows right there. The Kalashnikov is one of the most popular assault rifles in the world, and that's why all the other countries have that weapon, because it is. It's just, because those people, that are rebel fighters and stuff, they're sleeping on the ground. Their weapons are getting thrown in the back of trucks and covered up in dirt and all this other stuff. And man, they work. They just keep working. They just fire. They just work. Water, sand, dirt, dust. No matter how many rounds, they just keep on working. That's a hell of a weapon right there. My favorite anyway.
Those old German Rugers. Those
and you got a 7.62 instead of a 5.62. I mean a 5.56.
For people that don't know how silly this design is, inside of, like, right under this, there's a tube that runs throughout the length of this entire gun, like right here. So every time the gun fires, there's gas that comes through the barrel. It recycles into this tube, comes back and blows soot into the chamber, into the firing mechanism. It blows soot into the firing mechanism. The AK-47 doesn't do that.
It's an efficient soot carrier, because what it does is it explodes the first time, and then it recycles it and makes sure that you didn't lose any of it and pushes it back into the weapon.
That's exactly what it does. It's a soot recycler.
It's a soot recycler. Keep it in the weapon so that it can jam it, but we're going to give you a button so that you can, seat that bolt properly.
It's sort of like you have like a gun that makes a bunch of those stupid little snake fireworks.
Yeah.
And it's just, in the old A1s, they didn't have, you see how the flash suppressor on yours is built? They didn't realize on the A1s that the flash suppressor could hold the muzzle down. And that flash suppressor right there actually helps to hold the muzzle down. They've actually improved that one too, where there's a flat section on the top to keep the muzzle down. Oh, there you go. There it is. That's it. So that keeps the muzzle from flying up in the air. On the old A1s that we had with the triangular, handguards, you would fire it and it would go
really
up in the air. Yeah, because they didn't build the flash suppressors properly. So and those ones were fully auto. So imagine that on fully auto.
Vietnam 0% kill rate.
So to fix that problem, they said, okay, well, no more automatic. Let's just go 3-round bursts. So they had a switch that puts you to 3-round bursts, so it would just go. Then they fixed the flash suppressor, so that it was, they just kept trying, and then they finally just scrapped the whole thing and said, "Okay, we're sorry."
Do you know one of the first ways like J.P. Morgan made their money was selling guns for a war, and they sold like one of some of the worst guns in the world. Like they bought like used guns, and they said they fixed them up, but the most expensive part, which is fixing up the barrel, they never re-flattened out the barrel or rebored it. And they gave these to these soldiers, and a ton of soldiers died because of those guns.
Sounds like J.P. Morgan.
Right.
So RG3, with the AK though, you've got an actual bolt on the outside that you can pull back, right?
Charging handle, yes.
So technically, you could use that charging handle as a forward assist, right?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got a charging handle. It's not like the slide, because on the AR models and the M16 models, you slide that back and you don't have any action with that thing after the bolt leaves. That's just for charging it back, and then it automatically releases once you push the once you push the release the catch, and then that thing just, it's like you can, once the bolt's in, you can just take that thing and it slides back and forth on its own, just wiggle.
It goes limp.
So it goes limp. It's like it means nothing. So, but that's why the AK is so, it's just built solid. It's just built to work. So Kalashnikov or anything German is my favorite weapons. Anything German. And
I like the Swiss SIGs too.
Oh, the SIGs.
Yeah, that's all new stuff.
I like the SIGs.
They're pretty. They look goofy, but then when you actually grab them, they're like, oh wow, this feels so comfortable.
I want a blunderbuss. I want a
There
bundle.
you go.
Don't think I won't get one too. I will have one. I will have one.
Don't the SIGs fold as well? Or am I thinking about the wrong one?
The what?
The SIGs?
Do they what?
Don't they fold?
Well, I mean, a SIG's just a name brand. I mean, you got all kinds of.
Well, at least the ones I'm thinking about, they're like the black assault rifle, but I've seen ones that like they actually fold in half, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's collapsible stocks or whatever.
Yeah, or
all that
like
stuff's kit stuff that you can, put on almost any assault rifle or whatever. But does SIG even make an assault rifle?
Oh yeah, they make a good one.
They do. Yeah,
they make one. They make the standard assault rifle that's used by the Swiss military.
Nice. Cool. All right, guys.
Go ahead. I'm just looking through the comments.
Yeah, I was looking to see if there's anything in there. It's so we're in this bear market. We're always running out of material now. We're doing all these streams. Yeah. Hex is doing his stream. We're bringing Richard on. We're trying to pull out all the stops right now because it's just like things are just kind of like when it's not going up, man, and it's just going sideways. It's kind of like, but I was hoping that we were going to start getting like some new folks coming into the chat rooms and stuff so we can answer. What I like about Hexo's show is that he's always talking to people. We get pretty deep in our conversations on this show, and I was hoping that we'd get like some new people that weren't too scared to get on here and ask some of the easy questions, because I think some of the easy questions need to start being answered again, like
right.
Staking and share price and how do you get your hex and all that stuff. I mean, I know that we kind of get deeper into issues here on this show because we have more time, we got more people talking about it, we got more questions coming in. But is there anybody new out there watching? I know we got 73 people. Nobody new there. I mean, it's all of our buddies. All of the freaking cutthroats are in the chat, making comments. But is there anybody new out there? Don't be afraid. We're not going to hurt you too bad to ask any questions that you might have about
fresh delicious.
So it turns out zero liberals will end up with hex. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but
are you saying because we talk about guns so much, none of the liberals are going to be on the show? But that doesn't make any sense though, because the hardcore liberals, they got to have guns to protect Chaz. So they're gonna the liberals are gonna flip to being gun promoters. Oh they're gonna start loving their guns. Yeah, they got to protect that place. They'll choose the communist AK for sure.
See, what are your predictions? Zaza is saying, what are your predictions? As far as what, Zaza? As far as what? What kind of predictions? Are you talking about price? I mean, we've got the number one freaking Moonboy Hex price guy right here sitting to what would be my right. And he's put out a price prediction of 33 cents. And he's also said that he thinks that it's quite possible that we're going to see it start moving to a penny in July. Sometime in July, we should see a movement to a penny. And that's my opinion too. I think sometime in July, because of the FOMO that's going to start happening because of big payday coming, we're gonna see a penny pretty soon. And it doesn't take much to move the price. Did you see? You saw that. That tool. So Good Texture did a video the other day where he literally sat there and did all the math on how to get the market cap to where you can get to 33 cents and all this stuff and what it would look like. And as he started looking at it, it doesn't take much to make the price go up as far as, dollars in, to make the price of Hex, shoot up that high. It doesn't take a lot. I mean, it's a significant amount of financial energy, but it's not a lot like you'd think. I mean, it's really, a handful of whales can make it happen in like
$8 million to go to 1 penny.
$8 million to a penny. I mean, that's really nothing when it in the scheme of things, that's nothing. And in crypto, that's even nothing, So moving at that that far doesn't take much financial energy to get it there. And moving beyond that into like the 33-cent range is, where is that energy going to come from? That's some of the questions, from within crypto, outside of crypto, from, stable coins, where is that value at, that energy at, or where can it come from? So, I mean, I don't know what the answer to that stuff is. What you guys got any predictions on what a scenario would look like of where the money would come from?
Steph's and Fireblown's new app looks like it's starting to heat up a little bit. It looks like it's going to come out soon.
Coming
and
out next week, they're going to update us. They're coming next week and update us.
Yeah, that looks like it could really make it easier for like normal type folks to get into Hex, and it won't be so difficult. I get DMs every single day of people who have no idea what they're doing trying to buy Hex, and I'm just like, I do not want to even recommend Hex to people that I know in person, because I know they're not going to be able to do it, and I don't want to play help desk, and it's just, this is going to make things a lot easier.
Right.
Hopefully that's what happens. Maybe that's not what the app does. I don't actually know what the app does.
Well, I know they're working on some onboarding stuff, and that's that's key to adoption outside of crypto. But from within, it's about marketing, and it's about community, and it's about what we go out and do. I really think that all the YouTube content out there is going to start helping us push. I think as we start to see, I mean, our numbers aren't that high. We're like, I think we got like when we got like 650 people or something like that subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
And we're probably, number 4, number 3, channel in Hex right now. And, of course, Hexologist is number 1 with a couple thousand. Once those numbers start, and that happens fast, when those numbers start to rise and people start to look at it and, go, hey, wait a minute, these guys are really talking about Hex, and they know what they're talking about in a different light. Then that's when people will start kind of FOMOing in and listening to all the Hex content. And then there's a ton of them out there now. So there's a ton of people talking about Hex, and people that aren't really like deep into crypto. I got who was it? Seth. You guys know Seth on Twitter. He had I did an interview with him and Nerd Girl a few weeks back or whatever. But he has a buddy that's got his own YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel is he's not really a crypto guy, but he's laying it out for Hex, like showing how to get in, what Hex is all about. I was like, wow, that's cool. And he said, yeah, he's not really a tech guy or anything, and he's doing his own channel. So I think, from within the crypto sphere, we're going to need to get let's see, who dat, try me. Lots of people will cash out after being payday. What percentage? Okay. Do you think I'll answer this one real quick.
Sure,
do you think a lot of people will cash out after big payday? Say what percentage? Well, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into, whether people are really going to cash out or not. I mean, I think it has a lot to do with where the price of where the price is going at that point. Because I mean, if it's mooning, and people after big payday see that it continues to moon, and then people aren't really cashing out, then it might go on a run for a while. Yeah. You might see it run for a little bit, and people might be holding on, going, wait a second, I'm not cashing out right now. This is going to be worth way too much. So they may cash out small percentages of it and stake more of it. And I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but there's a lot of different scenarios that say, I mean, there's more scenarios that say price going to go up, price going to stabilize, price not going to dump, than there are price going to dump scenarios. I see a lot more argument for, I don't think this is going to look bad for Hex after big payday. I think it's going to look even better for Hex after big payday when you think of all the different scenarios that can happen.
I think that we are going to see the main event. I don't think that we've really seen the main event yet.
No, and that was
pumps that
pump too.
You know, I guess it was, but
116x is a big pump. That's a big pump in crypto.
yeah. But I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think we're gonna view it as that big compared to what's coming. I mean, I think you know, it is big. It is big, but I think that the main event for 2020 is still yet to come. I think 2020 is going to be looked back at as one of just the most monumental years for crypto that everybody missed. You know, a lot of people are going to have missed the current run that we've got in Hex. Now they've still got a chance. They've still got a chance to catch the main event, but I don't think a lot of people are going to realize it probably until halfway through the main event is even finished.
Right. And the price is not sitting. I mean, it is sitting really. It's sitting really good right now. I mean, right now is really if talking about how you know what you're talking about. I mean, where are we sitting at here?
33 and probably 30 to 33.
Yeah.
So 63,000 hex per Ethereum or something like
that. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see anybody who has coins dumping them right now. You know, I don't see anybody who has lion's shares of them dumping them right now, because anybody who's like, even all the dApps and everybody that has, you know, large amounts of hex, liquid hex, because I think most of the liquid hex right now is in the OA and in the hands of some of the dApps. And, you know, there's probably very few big bag holders. So pump coming, big payday coming, no pump coming, and probably no dump in sight. So right now is like, I mean, anything right now is probably a good time to you know, get your bag ready and loaded for what's about to come. Because once it goes to a penny, like Good Texture says, I think that penny's the point of no return. Once you hit that penny, man, it's to the races till big payday's over with. And then, you know, who knows what can happen before or after that. But I mean,
that's Normieville, dude. The minute we cross a penny, it's like people can, like, you know, envision that in their brain. Oh, a penny. Yes. Okay, cool. Penny could go to $1. Penny could go to quarter.
It's a big mental, right. You know, block or fence to jump over, you know, and that's sitting at a place where I'm getting this thing, you know, it's a penny right now. This sucker's going to go to $1. That's everybody's thought. You know, it's a penny now.
Once it hits a penny, it is going to blast off like unbelievable.
And a penny for those of you who got in, you know, the first, you know, 6 months or 7 months of the you know, before the big pump or whatever. Holy smokes. Life changing.
What is it, like 10K per million or something like that?
What is it at one penny?
I think it's
penny. The market cap?
No, I think it's like, if you were to sell to USD, it's like
ETH or
it's ETH
or USD to
yeah, it's $10,000 per million per penny.
Oh,
for every million.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't measure it that way. I just
yeah.
But once it gets up there, you know, people are going to try to once that penny run starts, and that's what it'll be. It'll probably go down in history as the bull run that started at a penny, and
the War of the Penny Kings.
So you're thinking that the big bull run's coming after it hits a penny?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. The big bull run doesn't start until it hits a penny, and then once it hits a penny, then that's when we start trucking to 33 cents, and that's gonna be unbelievable.
I gotta get my ticket to Puerto Rico real soon.
And when people get into the ecosystem for the first time, right, the price appreciates to a penny, 2 pennies, right? Their set point for what's normal is when they get in, right? So if people see 2 pennies, let's just say we hit 10 pennies and it corrects down to them, they'll be the buyers, and a lot of other people be the buyers at 2 pennies, because that's the point that they got in originally. They're like, 2 pennies is a great deal, and we'll buy it up. I don't think we go below a penny, to tell you the truth, as well.
No, once it gets above a penny, I don't think it will ever come back down. Not below a penny. Never happen. I'm not seeing it. And I've studied a lot of I've been doing this for
stuff.
Yeah, they're talking about Richard's
Yeah,
TT.
yeah.
Who's doing what now?
The Richard toilet roll thing, right?
Oh, yeah. Let's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
So who was that? Colin Alexander said, knock off the XRP talk. Yeah. I hear you, bro. I hear you.
Y'all tired of the XRP talk? Tell you, they got some strong hands. They got some really strong hands. They know how to hold, and they understand banking products. At least they think they do.
I think they do. Yeah.
Well, because they own one.
Yeah.
They own a banking product. That's for sure. But that's not crypto, as far in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, XRP will go to sub 10 cents. And I think once it goes back to single digit cents, they'll probably have a big exodus and a lot of people that are pretty angry.
Yeah. Fuck XRP. Who dat?
Well, let's just embrace these people with open arms. Like, hey, come on, you guys. It's okay.
And I mean, that's the way we have to be with all crypto people.
Yeah.
Is they don't get to walk all over us. They don't get to call us scammers anymore. They don't get to disrespect us. But for those that want to listen to us and those that are looking for a real altcoin versus what these guys are, I mean, a real staking coin versus what these guys are calling staking coins. I mean, I haven't seen anything that has impressed me yet.
Yeah.
That does what HEX does, is as solid and stable as HEX is. That gives you guaranteed interest, guaranteed penalty bonuses. I mean, it's just, you're going to get more HEX, period. End of story. Once you stake and pull out, and the value of HEX is the variable. But I mean, all these other coins, I don't understand their programs. I don't understand how they operate. I see a lot of smoke and mirrors in their white papers and stuff. But I haven't found the value yet, but I haven't done a lot of research either. I've got probably 4, 5, 6 more coins now that I got to look at a little deeper. But I mean, I know Tezos, I understand that now, and I don't see a whole bunch there. ETH and Cardano got nothing. So yeah.
They just don't have the pumpamentals. They just don't.
Yeah. I think the dump for an XRP from 10 cents to a penny is going to be into HEX.
Oh, you see it coming into HEX? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I see. I mean, it's.
I'd like to see what projects get killed at that point, and what how we grow, and what makes what projects dump.
We'll probably take all of IOTA's market cap.
It's not going to be that far in the future when HEX takes over XRP's market cap. It's not that far away. It's maybe I think it's maybe 2 months away at the most.
2 months?
Maybe. Yeah, I think HEX will probably flip XRP. I would say, I'm thinking probably by the end of August, I would think.
Yeah, August
Hell
is going to be thick. August is going to be thick. Oh, all right, guys. Well, hey, we should probably wrap this up. It's going on 3 hours.
Yeah.
And,
got a party to get to.
You got a party to get to on a Monday night? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Man, that's awesome, dude. Man after my own heart. Partying on a Monday night.
Yeah, man.
Hey.
Did he exit scam us?
He exit scammed us, bro.
Wow. He must have heard of the Puerto Rico news early.
He must have.
What the hell happened?
There he goes.
It kicked off right before I got to end it. Well, good thing it didn't throw you guys out. So I'm gonna try and get this OBS. Oh, Firebun in there. Yo, what up, dude? All right, man. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. I appreciate all you guys showing up in the chat room and everything, and the 70 or so people that were watching us for the last 3 hours talk about all the weird shit and whatnot. But thanks, Good Texture, for coming on, bro. Appreciate you always.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Sergeant at Arms and Litecoin. Always a pleasure having you by my side, talking about everything else that's out there. All right, fellas, have a good one. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next. We'll see you on Wednesday. I got some guests coming on, and I just got to secure them. And then I think that we're going to have Firebun is going to give us I don't know if it's going to be Firebun or Steph, but they're going to give us a update on what they got going on. So that's
Sweet.
really cool stuff. All right, fellas, have a good one, man. See you guys
All right.
later. Bye-bye.
Take care, y'all.